It is a beautiful autumn day in North Central Florida on the campus of the University of Florida. College football, Southeastern Conference style, the Florida Gators against the LSU Tigers. The Florida Gators knocked out of the top 10 in the Associated Press poll with a loss last week at Mississippi State, looking for redemption today. And hello again, everybody. Welcome to Gator Football on Sunshine. I'm David Steele. We're glad to have you with us. Last week, the Gators knocked from the unbeaten ranks in Mississippi. At the same time, the LSU Tigers were scoring their biggest win in 3 years at home against the Tennessee Volunteers. The results last week set up a very big game this week in the SEC, a balanced SEC, as Florida takes on LSU. Let's welcome Nat Moore to the broadcast. Nat, the Gators go into this game with a new starting quarterback.
Well, David, you're right. Jesse Palmer was injured last week versus Mississippi State, hurt his ankle. And because of that, two freshmen got an opportunity to play. Rex Grossman, a redshirt freshman, came in, did a tremendous job. Also, Brock Berlin, as we take a look at their career numbers. But last week, when Rex Grossman was called upon, he did a nice job of running the offense as we see him go to Jabbar Gaffney for the touchdown here. And then Brock Berlin also got an opportunity. And when given the opportunity, he also did a nice job of finding the open receiver as we see him go to Matt Jackson. The one thing that the Gators are looking for is a quarterback to lead this offense. Now, on the other hand, LSU might have already found their guy in Rohan Davey. He'll get his second start today. Last week versus Tennessee, he had a tremendous ball game as he threw for 4 touchdowns and continually found the open receiver as we see him go to Josh Reed. But the thing that's important about this guy is not just his throwing ability, but his ability to escape from the pressure and pick up additional yardage. Look for the Gators to put the pressure on Rohan Davey. If not, he will have a gigantic game today.
Not only put the pressure on him, Nat, but also tackle him, wrap him up. That's been the Gators' problem the last couple of weeks, tackling the ball carrier. For more on that, let's go to the sideline and our sideline reporter, Larry Vittel.
All right, thanks a lot, David. You know, talking about the Florida Gator defense, we expected big things out of this defense this year. Haven't seen them yet, and a big part of it, missed tackles. In the last 3 ball games, Florida's missed over 50 tackles, and what are they doing? They're over-pursuing. They're getting in the wrong lanes. They're missing their opportunity. In a gap-control defense, you've got to have one guy free. That free guy has got to make the tackle. And whether it's been inside runs or this outside run, you find guys with too much running room getting downfield, and as a result, the Gators give up 352 yards on the ground against Mississippi State. Florida is now 11th in the SEC in rush defense. The longer that number stays high, the Gators' chances of victory are going to be low. They plan to be more fired up today. They plan to be more aggressive in the trenches. We'll see if it pays off. Florida and LSU in the swamp. We'll kick it off after this timeout on Sunshine Network.
This game is brought to you in part by Checkers, high-performance human fuel, and by Tico Peoples Gas. Run smart and save with energy conservation rebates from Peoples Gas. Capacity crowd filling in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for today's East versus West showdown in the Southeastern Conference. The Florida Gators against the LSU Tigers. Steve Spurrier, a remarkable record with the Gators, 106 victories in his 11th season as head coach at Florida. And against the LSU Tigers, Spurrier is 9-1. The only defeat in the 90s by LSU over Florida was 1997 in Baton Rouge. The first-year head coach for the LSU Tigers is Nick Saban. Saban joining the LSU coaching staff from Michigan State, where he took the Spartans to the Citrus Bowl last year. And, of course, his Michigan State team defeated the Florida Gators. He was not there. He had already moved on to LSU. But he did a great job at Michigan State trying to turn fortunes around in the Bayou. Our temperature today, very seasonably warm at 72 degrees. And a cold front is pushing through north central Florida. So we expect the temperature not to get too much higher than that as the afternoon progresses. Florida leads the overall series. Florida and LSU have played each other every year since 1971. At 29 consecutive years, Florida has taken on the Tigers. The Gators have won 17, lost 10, and tied 2 since 1971. And they've won 11 of the last 12 meetings. Senior place kicker Jeff Chama ready to kick the ball away to the LSU Tigers. Dominic Davis is the deep man for the LSU ball club. Tigers coming off a thrilling overtime victory last week in Baton Rouge against the Tennessee Volunteers, giving Tennessee their second conference loss of the early season and keeping LSU in the thick of things in the Southeastern Conference West. They have only one conference defeat, as do the Florida Gators, after last week's setback in Mississippi. Wide open in the Southeastern Conference at this stage, almost midway through the season. A late arriving crowd at the Swamp. Early start time today, and the fans still pouring in as Davis receives the ball 3 yards deep and heads the other direction. Todd Johnson turns into the outside, and Davis bounces out of bounds at the 26-yard line. They'll say he stepped out of bounds at the 23, where LSU will take possession of the football to start the game. The LSU Tigers last year were just 3-8, 1-7 in the Southeastern Conference. Jerry DiNardo out, Nick Saban in. This Tiger bunch is 3-2 as you look at Rohan Davey, the junior quarterback from Miami, out of the I formation. Fakes the handoff. Davey throwing deep. Double coverage on Jarrell Myers, and the pass is incomplete. Well, Davey had the big game last week. Just tremendous against Tennessee. There you see what he did against the Volunteers. 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. 4 TDs, tying a school record.
Well, David, they come out and try to start out with a little play action, but a nice job by Todd Johnson, who had a monster game last week of playing his position and being right there to help Leo Shepherd out on the corner route.
Davey hands off to the tailback, Cofield, and the Gators swarming Cofield near the line of scrimmage. Today's starting lineup brought to you in part by Checkers, high-performance human fuel. LSU offensively, Cofield the tailback, Big Tommy Banks the fullback, Myers Robinson the starting receivers, Royal the tight end. Lewis Williams the starting center, making his 28th consecutive start for the LSU Tigers. Big senior from Fort Walton Beach down at Choctawhatchee High School. On 3rd and 10, Davey will work from the shotgun. Stepping up, he'll have to run the ball. And the Gators drop him at the 32-yard line. It looks like he is about a yard short of a first down.
Well, this is the thing that scares you about Rohan Davey, is the fact that he has the ability when the pocket breaks down. Nice job by the front four getting pressure, but as he starts to scramble upfield, and then the tackle has to be very, very careful, should I say, defensive end, Clint Mitchell, that he don't knock him forward for the first down. Came very close to pushing him forward enough to gain the first down.
Donnie Jones, the redshirt freshman punter. Lito Shepherd standing deep. And Jones kicks it high, and it hit, looked like it hit one of the players down around the 32-yard line. Benny Alexander flying down the field. And you look at Rex Grossman. Has not played a lot this season, but when he has been very effective. 27 out of 42. 64% pass completion for 430 yards and 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception.
And David showed a lot of poise last week versus Mississippi State when the Gators were trying to make that comeback of hitting Javar Gaffney twice on corner routes for touchdown.
Senior Jesse Palmer suffered a hip pointer 2 weeks ago and an ankle injury last week. So he's a little bit banged up. Grossman gets the starting call, and the tailback, Rand Carthon, with the carry on first down. Today's starting lineup, once again, brought to you in part by Checkers, high-performance human fuel. Backs and receivers, Carthon getting his first start, the freshman from Key West, with Frazier the fullback, Caldwell, Gaffney the receivers, Walker the tight end. The offensive line of Jorgensen, Hires, Moody, Pearson, Walker. will mix up in the backfield as one freshman runs into another. And Carthon manages just to make it to the 39-yard line.
And they had a nice little trap action as we take a look at the offensive line there with Thomas Moody, but because of the mix-up in the backfield, weren't able to get Carthon into the hole.
So back-to-back gives to Rand Carthon, and the Gators are looking at 3rd down and 3 at their own 40-yard line. Carthon again the ball carrier, and he drives it for the first down to the 44-yard line. Strong running by Carthon. Trev Falk made the tackle for LSU's defense. Let's take a look at him. Out of the bayou, they come to the swamp. Green and green. Cousins at end and tackle on the right side. Barnes and Kipps. And then the linebackers Lawrence, Falk, and James. 3 good ones. Ryan Clark very steady at free safety. Booker their best man on the corner. First down for the Gators at their 44-yard line. Under pressure, Grossman pass caught. Taylor Jacobs at the 47-yard line of LSU.
And David, a beautiful job by Taylor Jacobs of going up, catching the football into his hands. Grossman comes up, he sees something in the defense, he checks off to this play. Everybody gets it. Nice job of picking up the blitzer and getting rid of the football. Good job of going up, catching the ball in his hands by Taylor Jacobs.
9 yards on first down. It's 2nd down in LSU territory for the Gators out of the I formation. And off to Carthon. He had met. The ball pops out of there, and Rod Frazier is on the spot to recover it for the Gators near the first down marker. Brady James shook the ball loose from Carthon.
Well, this is Carthon hitting it up in the hole, trying to hit it up there tough, but James does a real good job of fighting off the block and making the tackle, shaking the ball loose, and Frazier was able to get back on the football. I think James actually beat Rod Frazier on that block. You know, that's how you beat the block and make the tackle there.
No backs, 3rd down and short. The quarterback Grossman keeps it for the first down. So Florida picks up back-to-back first downs as Kipps is there to make the stop for the LSU Tigers.
And this is very impressive. Today the Gators come out of 6 offensive plays. They've ran it 5 times and have only put the ball up once, and that was a checkoff. So look like Steve Spurrier is trying to get this offensive line moving forward, controlling the line of scrimmage before they go into the passing attack.
Florida dead last in the Southeastern Conference in running the football. Grossman looked like a mix-up, but Rex manages to pick up 3 or 4 yards before stepping out of bounds at the 41-yard line. James, that sophomore linebacker, number 11, chased him out of bounds.
And I tell you exactly what happened here. Grossman is expecting Rand Carthon to hit the ball, hit it right out over the guard tackle. He swings it a little wide. Heads-up play by Rex Grossman of being alert, getting as much as he can and getting out of bounds. Here you see he misses the handoff because the tailback is too wide. Now he's smart enough to get as much as he could. Picks up 4 yards. Good positive play out of a bad play. Nice job by Rex Grossman.
2nd down at the 41. The screen set up for Gaffney, and LSU scoring. Drops him for a big loss back to the 47-yard line. Muskegum Barnes was the first Tiger there, but he had a lot of company.
And David, it's very tough to run a quick screen to the slot receiver when you've got the corners up on the nose of the receiver. You know, there's just no time, no way for him to get the ball, get turned back upfield. As Booker was right on him, and it drew the block of the tackle coming out, and there's nowhere for Gaffney to run with the football.
Loss of 5. 3rd down is 12 now. Grossman looking to throw. He's got Jacobs just overthrown. Jacobs lunging. Can't make the catch. It'll bring up 4th down for Florida.
But David, that was an excellent throw by Rex Grossman. He gave his receiver a chance to make the play, and this is a catchable ball. Ball's thrown high outside on the corner route. And here, Taylor Jenkins runs a nice route, and as the corner falls off, this ball goes right through his hand. It's a catchable ball. Nice throw by Grossman. The receiver has to make that play.
And when he doesn't, this is what happens. Punting situation, first one of the afternoon for Florida. Allen Ryan booms it toward the goal line. Let's see if it can be down. It ricochets quickly into the end zone. Hit it to 1. Strong-legged Allen Ryan.
And really had a shot. Benny Alexander had a shot at downing that ball on the 1-yard line, but he's got to catch it in the air instead of allowing it to hit. So they had a chance to make a big play on special teams. They did not get it done.
LSU Florida scoreless in the first quarter. Both teams have had one offensive possession. More from the Swamp in a moment. This game is brought to you in part by First Union, your guide to the financial world. By Great Southern Wood, makers of Osmos pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. And by Dairy Farmers Incorporated. Got milk?
Each team has had one possession in the Swamp this afternoon, and neither able to do enough with it. No score between Florida and LSU. You know, the Gators coming out running the football ties in to what I talked about at the open as far as the Gator defense is concerned. Steve Spurrier pointed out earlier this week the offense had back-to-back one-possession turnovers in the third quarter. He thought it was a big part in Mississippi State gaining control of the line of scrimmage and control of the second half. So look for the Gators to try to run a little more, give the defense more rest, and perhaps get the offensive line going forward, something they weren't able to do Saturday in Starkville. Let's go back upstairs to David and Nat.
Well, good job on their first possession of Florida's offense, at least picking up 2 first downs. But LSU has the ball at its 20-yard line on their second offensive series of the afternoon.
And David, they picked up those 2 first downs running the football, and you know when they started to throw the ball on the third series, shall I say, or the third opportunity. Is when they started to stall, because it's a hit or miss. If you don't hit it, it gives you third and long or second and long.
They'll pitch to the tailback, Tofield. He breaks free at the 25. Tom Johnson, who had 17 tackles last week in Mississippi, and is the leading tackler in the Florida defense. But when your free safety is leading you in tackles, that is a sign of trouble.
Well, here you see the Tigers getting blocks on everybody, and before you know it, Tofield is into the secondary before Todd Johnson can make the tackle. There you see Natil actually giving himself up. He can't run out there. He's got to close from inside out and make the tackle. That time he gave the fullback the angle. The fullback drove him outside. Tofield cuts inside. First down.
And there is a timeout on the field as the Tigers pick up the first down at the 35-yard line on the run by Tofield. No score in the first quarter. This game is brought to you in part by Shands Healthcare and by Toyota. The value is real every day. Back at Florida Field, let's take a look at the Gator defense. A change in the secondary starting lineup. Brown, Gurley, Warren, Clint Mitchell, the front 4. Linebackers, Owens, Ferrier, and Hardman. And in the secondary, Robert Cromartie, who has not played one play this year because of injury, is thrust into the starting lineup today, along with Johnson and Shepard and Marquand Manuel. John Hook, the defensive coordinator, looking for some people that will go out on the field and make some plays, tackle, wrap people up, and that's one of the things that Cromartie has been able to do. He started 16 games for the Gators in his college football career, the junior from East Point, Georgia, and he's put right into the starting lineup today, Nat.
Well, the Gators were actually hoping to be able to redshirt Robert Cromartie, but because of dire straits on the tackling and being Robert Cromartie is one of the better tacklers on this football team, they went ahead and decided not to redshirt him. He's instituted into the starting lineup, and hopefully he can be the spark to get this offense rolling.
There he is, the junior from Georgia. Again, making his 17th start in his Gator career.
And at 5'8", 187 pounds, is a small guy, but a very short tackler.
Davey chased by Alex Brown. He unloads it to Banks, and the big fullback barrels out of bounds at the 48-yard line of Florida. Davey pressured from the front and the rear, but he got the pass away to Banks, and Todd Johnson again is there to make the tackle.
And David, this is what's been happening. Here you see Alex Brown coming on the pass rush. He beats the tackle, but all you need is just a little coverage to force the quarterback to hold the football a little bit longer, but he's able to get it out to Banks before Todd Johnson's able to come over and knock him out of bounds. You know, you need a little bit better coverage by the linebackers in the secondary, and that would give that defensive line a chance to get there and make some plays.
Schofield to the 45, a 4-yard carry. Marquand Manuel made the stop for the Gators. LSU has reeled off consecutive first downs on a 15-yard run by Tofield and a pass of 16 yards to Banks.
And this is just where you try and stretch it wide, and Tofield cuts it back up inside. A nice hit there by Marquand Manuel. It's good to see him back in the starting lineup. Last week he had 14 tackles. You know, he was one of those guys that was the leader of the defense last year. He had been in a battle for the starting position with Todd Johnson and lost his starting job. Now we've got both of them on the field.
And that was, again, Manuel making the stop on Tofield. Marquand Manuel, junior from Miami.
Here's a low angle look. As you see, this is just good blocking up front by the Tigers. And you see Marquand coming over from his strong safety slot to get a piece of the tackle on Tofield.
Tigers offense trying to build some momentum in the first quarter. They are 3rd down and 4. Tofield. The Gators stuff him at the 40, short of a first down. The entire right side of Florida's line getting the job done.
And David, this is what we haven't been seeing. See, you see a pile there. You see a cluster. There's just nowhere for Tofield to run. So therefore, the Gators, there's no holes. Better job of just stacking everything up. You see Gerard Ward. You see Mike Nattil stepping up in there. You see Travis Harris. A better job of making a pile, not creating holes for the Tigers to try and run through.
And LSU, 4th and 1 at the Florida 40, does not want to take the chance of giving the Gators good field position. So the freshman Donnie Jones will punt the ball for the 2nd time today. And he's knocked the ball inside the 26 times already this year. Shepard lets it go over his head. And this one, though, is going to get into the end zone for a touchback. The Tigers almost downed it at the 1-yard line, but couldn't quite make the play. LSU picks up a couple of first downs, but has to punt the ball away, and Rex Grossman will lead the Gator offense onto the field when we come back. This game is brought to you in part by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different. And by SunTrust Bank. Gators and the Tigers scoreless in the first quarter from the Swamp. 5:52 remaining in the first period. LSU 3-2 overall. Florida 4-1. Both teams have suffered an early Southeastern Conference defeat, and it's very tough to take 2 losses. Very difficult to take 2 defeats in the conference and win your division. Both teams realize that. Very big game today. David Jorgensen, the sophomore center from Hartford, Connecticut, had himself a tough week last week against Willie Blade and the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Nat.
Yeah, Willie Blades actually ended up being the SEC Defensive Player of the Week as he had a monster game against that Gator offensive line. And in fairness to David Jorgensen, you know, at times when they were going 3-man rush, it's very difficult to snap the football and then be able to get your block. You got to get your hands up and get your block. And a couple times he really should have gotten some help from the 2 guards that weren't really blocking on anybody. The center has the toughest job of any of the offensive linemen of making the calls and then snapping the football and then having to pick up the guy on his nose.
Carthon to the 24. 4 yards on first down for the Gators. It'll be 2nd and 6, or rather that's Robert Gillespie, the new tailback, getting his first carry of the afternoon.
And here's a good look at Jorgensen working on number 91, Muskin Gun Barnes, but he gets a little help there from Leon Hires, and then Leon Hires comes off with a linebacker. That's what you got to do. You got to give the guy some help. It's very difficult to have to snap the ball, make the calls, and then have a guy right on your nose that you're responsible for.
Grossman pressured, and down he goes. Barnes was the first Tiger there to get the sack back around the 15-yard line.
And I tell you exactly what happened that time. The last play, Barnes was in the gap where he could get some help. This time he moves on the nose, and then he beats his man. Didn't get any help from the back. Easy sack. You know, similar to what happened with Blades. You know, he muscles up with the center, sheds him, comes around, and he's right there for the sack on Grossman.
Passing situation, 3rd down, 15 from the 15-yard line. 4-man rush by the Tigers. Grossman has plenty of time, and he overshoots his intended man. That's Gaffney. In fact, he threw it over the head of the free safety that was covering the play. So it's 4th down.
Well, David, if the ball's going to sail on you, hopefully it really sails as he overthrows both Gaffney and James. But he did have Jabbar Gaffney open on a square-in route where if he'd have been able to get the ball to him, it would have been complete for the 1st down.
Well, the LSU defense has not surrendered a touchdown in the 1st quarter all season long, and the Gators now punting for the 1st time, or rather for the 2nd time in the period. Allen Ryan. Davis backpedaling from his 35. A nice kick by Ryan. And Eric Johnson drops Davis at the 41. A 49-yard punt and about a 5-yard return.
Beautiful job by Eric Johnson of not only snapping the football to Allen Ryan to punt it, but then coming down and getting in on the tackle on Davis as Davis starts to his left, reverses his field, and now watch Johnson come into your picture and put a nice hit on Davis.
Much better tackling overall by the Gators in this game so far, Namor.
Much better.
A tough week or 2 or 3.
Well, David,
Mississippi State, Kentucky, Tennessee.
What we're seeing now is a better job of wrapping up.
That time LSU had great blocking on the left side of the line, and Dominic Davis was untouched until he hit about 10 yards up the field.
Well, the play was actually scheduled to go inside, but then Davis bounces his outside, and there you see Ellis is being held, and you know, Steve's over there talking to the officials, but a nice job of running by Davis of bouncing it outside once he saw that there was nothing inside. Gators still are having a tough time of fighting off the block and getting into the tackling lane.
Davis hit in the backfield. Brought down by Thomas Pittman. And a Teal at the 48-yard line.
Well, let's go back and take a look at this. Alex Brown does a good job of coming around the tight end. Now, he has a chance to make that play, you know, but instead, Davis is able to run through an arm tackle as Alex Brown throws himself at his feet. You know, this is a great effort by Brown, but he's still got to come down with the tackle. That's what All-Americans do.
Davis picked up 1 yard. Davey throwing on 2nd down. He's hit as he throws, incomplete. Hit from behind. Ellis and Pittman were both in the area, and it was Kennard Ellis, the junior college transfer, originally out of Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando, that made the hit.
And David, this is because of good coverage downfield. They tried to shift the back out and get the tight end, and as Rohan Davey is forced to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, Kennard Ellis comes around, hits him just as he's releasing the football, and there you see Johnson with getting a left paw on it with a chance to knock it down. Good pressure by Kennard Ellis.
3rd down for LSU. Davey steps up in the pocket, throws it short. Again, superior pressure from Florida's front wall.
Buck Gurley, nice job from the right tackle of coming inside, breaking down the pocket. Now watch Buck Gurley come into your picture. Fake sack comes inside, and it's right there as Rohan Davey tries to deliver the ball.
Gurley, the senior from Tallahassee. only has 9 tackles this season through the first 5 games. So Steve Spurrier thinks all these guys along the front need to do a better job of getting in there and making some plays for the Gators. You know, they don't ordinarily make the most tackles on a team. Generally, that'd be your linebackers, your strong safety. But aside from Gerard Warren, there hasn't been enough playmakers on that front 4 this year. Beautiful punt by the freshman Jones, and the Tigers are going to down this one inside the 5 at about the 1.5-yard line.
Well, this is the 7th time that Mr. Jones has been able to pin the opponents back inside the 20-yard line. But Lito Sheppard, David, did a beautiful job of decoying the flyer, and it's just sad that this ball doesn't go in. He signals for fair catch, and you see the flyer stop. They're nowhere to be found, but the ball takes a careen to the right and doesn't go in. But an excellent job by Lito Sheppard of decoying that LSU cover team, but the ball just would not bounce right.
Just a great punt by a redshirt freshman from Baton Rouge, Donnie Jones. Gators are backed up on their end of the field, first down from their 1-yard line. Nice catch by Gaffney. He got foot in bounds at the 12-yard line.
Did you say nice?
That was very nice.
This is a great catch as he goes up. This is a one-hand catch with your left hand from a guy that's a right-hander. Beautiful job by Jabbar Gaffney going up, making the catch as he beats Hookfin. How do you pronounce that?
That's Hookfin.
Hookfin. I wonder if his dad was a fisherman.
He ought to be out of Key West. First down for Florida. Grossman, great protection. Finds Gillespie. And Gillespie finds about the 20-yard line. About an 8-yard pickup. Grossman very calmly standing in the pocket, couldn't find his primary receivers, dumped it off to the tailback.
And I think that's exactly what Steve likes about this young man. He can throw all the passes, but he's got the coolness that if everything is covered, he knows where his dump-off is, and there he gets it to Gillespie. Gillespie picks up 5 or 6 yards, giving the Gators second and short.
Second down and 3. Grossman for Jacobs. What a catch by Jacobs.
Now, David, earlier in the ball game, I talked about a quarter route where the ball went right through his hand. Taylor Jacobs goes up, knows he's going to get hit, and just makes a tremendous catch, sacrificing his body. Now watch this catch as the young man goes up, catches the football, as he beats number 33, Demetrius Hookfin. And once again, this is just an excellent catch by the freshman. Beautiful job of catching the football in his hand and then holding on as he goes down. Here's another look. This is just great control of the football, not allowing Hookfin to shake it loose.
Jacobs shaken up on the play. And he's up and okay. Headed to the sideline to a roaring crowd in the swamp.
David, I've talked to Dwayne Dixon a lot about this young man, Taylor Jacobs. They really love this young guy. They know that he has the potential, and he just needs playing time. He's just got to gain some experience. You know, you don't become a Jaquez Green or Riddell Anthony or Ike Hilliard, Travis Taylor without playing time, and they feel that he's going to be one of the guys that step forward and take control along with Jabbar Gaffney at this receiver corps.
Well, the Gator offense has come 51 yards in 3 plays. They're in LSU territory. Grossman with plenty of time again. Dumps it to Gillespie. Gillespie outrunning Falk. And the LSU defense all the way to the 25-yard line.
Well, this time Rex Grossman has everybody covered. But here's the beauty of it. Watch how he hangs in the pocket. He doesn't panic. You know, he's got his feet moving. He's looking around. He's looking around. He knows that he's got Robert Gillespie checking out over the middle. Gillespie does the rest after the catch. Here's another look. Now watch Rex Grossman, the coolness in the pocket. He wants to go downfield. He's looking. He's looking. He doesn't panic, and that's important from your quarterback position.
Florida's at the LSU 26. Gaffney. Touchdown.
Well, David, I'll tell you what. Grossman touchdown. Excellent execution by both the receiver and the quarterback.
And the extra point caps off just your everyday 5-play, 99-yard drive for the Florida Gators.
But they soften them up by running the football first, David. And that when you can run the football, it opens things up for the pass. As you see here, just a beautifully thrown ball, nice catch, and being aware of where he's got to go. As you see him stretching the football out to make sure he crosses the plane as the Gators go 99 yards in 5 plays. Pitch and catch at its finest.
Well, the Gators came into this game, as you look at Gaffney, that's his 5th touchdown reception of the season. Well, he has really become the go-to receiver for the Gators. Game-winning catch against Tennessee and Knoxville. Had 2 big touchdown catches to help bring Florida back into the game in the second half last week against Mississippi State. And now puts Florida on top of LSU 7-0.
And you can see why that the coaching staff is very high on both Taylor Jacobs and Jabbar Gaffney as they're able to move it down the field with the help of these 2 receivers along with Robert Gillespie and put points on the board.
That was a razor-sharp drive by the Florida Gator offense. Chandler hits a low wobbler. And it's picked up by Davis at about the 12-yard line. Dominic Davis wrapped up by Todd Johnson at the 32. Started to say a moment ago, Florida's offense averaging up 1 minute 54 seconds per drive, per touchdown drive this year. Look at this number here, Nat, 156. So the average drive creeped up just a little bit with that minute 56 drive. But, you know, the interesting thing, Steve Spurrier said all week long, we got to keep the ball a little longer. We're putting our defense on the field too quickly, even when we score touchdowns. Well, he didn't help himself too much in that regard with that drive.
And what that does, when you score that quickly, you put yourself in a position where you either got to score or else you give the ball up and your defense spends too much time on the field, and normally they wear down just like they did in the Mississippi State game in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
Marcus Oquendo Johnson, Travis Harris combined on the tackle of Tofield. Florida leads LSU 7-0, and that was the first touchdown that LSU has surrendered in the first quarter this season. Didn't think the Gators had time to go 99 yards, but they did. We're late in the first period. Alex Brown was offside. This is a free play for LSU. And the Tigers pick up a first down as time has expired in the first period. Referee Harold Mitchell with the call.
Defense in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. That'll be the end of the quarter. First down.
So LSU picks up the first down, but the Gators have picked up the first touchdown of the game. They lead the Tigers 7-0. Florida Gators ranked number 9 in the coaches poll. Jump out to a 7-0 lead after one period of play over the LSU Tigers. And what a drive. 99 yards, 5 plays for the Florida Gators.
But David, when you establish the run, then you can throw the football. As the Gators may throw the ball 5 times. As you see Taylor Jacobs go up and make a big catch. Now you dump it off to Gillespie for the second time in this series. And then last but not least, you go back to the guy that got you out of the hole as you throw the corner route to Jabbar Gaffney, who also made an excellent one-hand catch coming out of the end zone. So a beautifully ran drive, good play calling by Steve Spurrier to get the Gators on the scoreboard.
Let's go to the sideline, Larry Vittel.
All right, David, I want to follow up on what you guys were talking about. That is welcome back corner route for the Florida Gators throughout the 90s. How many times did we see Chris Doering or Ike Hilliard or Travis McGriff or somebody catch that corner? Against the zone defense, it's almost impossible to take it away from a team. The Gators are back executing it. Second point, it's almost like a baseball game. When you score runs in a scoreless game, your pitcher's got to shut them out the next half inning. This is a big series for the Florida defense to build on their success in the first quarter to get get the ball back with it a 7-0 ball game. Gators haven't had a chance to get up early in an SEC game. They have that chance now if the defense can come through.
All right, Larry, Gator volleyball hosts South Carolina this Sunday, October the 8th, 2 p.m. in the O'Connell Center. Kids can come on out and enjoy inflatable games during the match in the Kids Fun Zone. It's $2 for adults and free for University of Florida students and youth 17 and under. LSU first and 10 from their 43. Pressure on Davy. He finds the receiver Davis, and Davis knocked down at the 46-yard line. Marquand Manuel, Travis Harris, Marcus Okendo Johnson, the trio of Gator tacklers there.
But watch the first guy in as you see Davy get the ball out to Davis. Now watch Marquand Manuel come in and make the tackle, and he holds on for dear life. Here's another look at the pass rushers. You see Alex Brown trying to break down the pocket, coming around the corner, is very close to getting there. Also coming from the other side, you've got number 90, Thad Bullard. You know, that's a guy's name we haven't called much in the last few weeks with the young guys starting in front of him. But is it the vice president of the student body?
Didn't even make the trip to Mississippi last week. Almost had the quarterback sacked. The injured player is the starting left tackle for LSU, Brandon Winey, one of their more experienced offensive linemen. Winey, a senior from Lake Charles, Louisiana. This would be a serious blow. LSU has already had some injuries in its offensive line and can ill afford to lose the veteran Winey. On Friday the 13th, Florida basketball returns to the O'Connell Center. It's Midnight Madness presented by Alltel. The first 5,000 fans get keychains featuring Gator basketball seniors, courtesy of GRU. Autographs with Gator and Lady Gator players begins at 10 p.m., followed by basketball hoopla at 11:15. And best of all, Midnight Madness is free. That's Friday the 13th of October in the O'Connell Center. Looks like Winey is going to be okay. He's cradling that right arm as if it might be a hand or a wrist injury. Second down and a 7 for the LSU Tigers. Davy tosses the ball to Davis. There's a flag drop as Dominic Davis is out of bounds at the 48-yard line of Florida, about 1 yard short of a first down. But I think this one is going to come back.
I think they go call the tight end, Joe DiMaggio, for holding on Alex Brown. And good thing, because that time Davis had running room outside and picked up some positive yardage. Here you see the tight end trying to block
on the offense.
And this is just an outright hold.
Of the foul. Replay the down.
And the one thing, if you go hold, Dave, you don't hold right in front of the referee. You know, that's an easy call.
And then the other tip-off, he threw his arms up as if to say, I didn't do anything. So he got caught. Nick Saban's LSU Tigers coming off a thrilling victory last week. Boy, what a win that was for this program, which has struggled for the last 2 seasons.
Well, the Gators are continually lining up with all kinds of mistakes. And if they go ahead and snap the ball early, you know, Mike Nattiel is...
That's the first catch of the leading receiver in the Southeastern Conference, Josh Reed, a converted tailback. We haven't called his name yet, but he is a playmaker.
Well, this is just a mistake by the weak side linebacker. As you'll see Josh Reed come down and catch the ball. He's wide open because Mike Nattiel needs to be out over him and get a jam on him, get some kind of impede his progress. But instead, for the second play in a row, the linebacker got caught inside when they went 4 wide, and they just seem to be lining up in the wrong position. They come with the 4 wide once again.
Give it to Davis. A little counter action.
And Rohan,
or rather, Davy carrying the football to the 30-yard line. A great fake. He sold it to even some of us up here in the booth.
And that's just excellent play pass or play action by Rohan Davy as he fakes the ball to Davis and then tucks it under and comes out for a big gain. Looked like he hurt his knee. You know, he's had some problems with tendonitis in the left knee. And
yeah, he's limping again. He limped throughout the game in Baton Rouge last week. It didn't seem to slow him down too much because he made one big play after another. Crossing it to Davis. Kennard Ellis at the 35. There he is, the first junior college transfer into the Gator program since Lawrence Hatch in 1992.
And second big play by Kennard Ellis as he gets upfield, and as Davis tries to bounce it outside, he's able to fight off the block by keeping that outside arm free. He beats the block of the tight end, and it goes out and makes the tackle. You know, that's what you got to do. That's how you play football. Stuff everything inside, react out, and make the play.
Second down for the Florida 35. Pressure. They set up the screen. The pass hit the lineman in the back of the head. Brad Smalling trying to get out and throw a block for the tailback. Davis got hit in the helmet.
Well, David, the Gators are very, very fortunate because this is set up exceptionally well as the ball hits the tackle. Smalling in the back. Tofield, if he catches this football, has got plenty of running room with blockers in front.
Well, when you're 6'7", and that's the chance you take throwing him out there to lead the way. His head got in the way.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be in front of the ball carrier, not behind him.
You're right. Third down for the Tigers at the Florida 35. Early second quarter. Davey has a receiver open. It's caught. First down for the Tigers at the 15-yard line. Reggie Robinson's first catch of the afternoon. The LSU Tigers down in that corner of the end zone, erupting with applause after this big LSU third down conversion.
And this time the Gators drop back in a zone. Robinson finds the open slot in the zone and makes the catch, and it takes Todd Johnson to come in from a free safety slot to bring him down.
Robinson had a big game against Florida last year with 6 catches. Tofield running it to the 10. 7 yards on first down for Tofield as LSU threatens to tie the game. 12 minutes to play in the second quarter. Florida leads 7-0.
And this is what you don't want to see if you're a Gator. The Tigers are starting to get movement up front, and there's those large holes for the backs to go into as you see Tofield plowing it up in there for 7 yards.
They run that tailback behind big fullback Tommy Banks, a 6', 270-pound senior, number 43. Cromartie makes the stop inside the 10 at about the 8-yard line, but there is a flag drop around the line of scrimmage.
And this time they're going to hit Brad Smalling with holding as he was tied up with Gerard Warner, just reached out and grabbed him. And it was an easy call by the umpire. Let's take a look right there in the middle of your screen. As you see Tofield hitting it up in there, you'll see it right there. Hold it on. The official comes, throws the flag right in at him. So Brad Smalling, second offense to help slow down the drive.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat the down.
Yeah, but the first one was just a biological thing where he can't help being 6'7". This one was one of his own making.
No, he's 6'7", but he's supposed to be in front of
I
the running back.
There's the big fella, the sophomore from West Monroe. Now he's the guy that stepped in when Trey Langley went down, one of their premier offensive linemen early in the season, tore an ACL against Houston. Second down for LSU. Pressure. Tofield couldn't catch it. He had a lot of heat coming up on him from Hardman.
Sam Hardman that time read the play. They were in a man coverage, and as soon as the ball was thrown outside, he was right there to make the play. Now watch Sam Hardman. He sits back, he reads it as they try to throw the ball out to Tofield. Now watch him come into your picture. Nice job of taking care of his responsibility, not allowing Tofield to catch the football.
LSU faced with another big third down play. They are 3rd and 12 at the Florida 18. Davey from the shotgun formation. 2 receivers right, 2 receivers left. Flag drop, Davey. And they're going to stop the play. There must have been movement on the offensive line. Dead ball penalty. And the Tiger offense will be backed up 5 more yards.
And that's been one of the problems for this LSU football team is, you know, penalties have stopped drives for them and backed them up, even though they've been very successful inside the 20-yard line. 71% of the time they've been able to get a score. And there's a good look at it. The LSU Tigers have been penalized 3 times already here in the first half.
Gators have yet to be penalized today. We're at the 10:40 mark in the second quarter. Now the ball is at the 23-yard line where it's 3rd down and 17. Bullard getting some pressure. Davey throws for the end zone. And it's a touchdown.
That was a very strange call by the official.
Another official comes in and is waving it off.
Had possession of the football.
And Tennessee fans are going to wonder, where was this guy in Knoxville?
Well, this is a good call by the official to come in and overrule him. Now they get pressure on Davey as he throws the football, and here Todd Johnson's in great position. But right there, the ball, he never had control of the football as the official is signaling the catch, but the ball went straight through his arms.
I think a tip-off as LSU goes for the field goal. And it is good by John Corbello. A 40-yard kick by Corbello. I think a tip-off might have been when Reed slammed his hand to the turf after the catch. We'll be back. LSU has closed the gap on the Gators in the second quarter. It is now 7-3 after a 40-yard field goal by John Corbello. Today's game brought to you by the Gator Insider at SunshineNetwork.com. Daily update on Gator sports. Steve Spurrier's offense getting the football back after a very impressive 99-yard drive. LSU answered with a field goal. Let's take another look at the play, the controversial play, or at least some will think it is controversial.
Well, David, here's a perfect example of what happens. As the ball comes out, he never had possession, but John Hope, who has been under fire for the last 3 weeks, put his players in position. He brought Todd Johnson out of the free safety slot, gave him a lock on Reed, knowing that they would try and get the ball to him, and Todd Johnson was in position to make the play and fell off and actually gave Josh Reed a chance to make the catch for a touchdown. You know, as coaches, all you can do is put your players in position, but they've got to make plays, and Todd Johnson through the weeks have been one of the guys that have continually made plays, but that time he was in position, actually should have came up with the interception, and it came close to being a touchdown.
But the Tigers settled for a field goal, 12 plays, 45 yards. Their offense chewed up 5.5 minutes off the clock. And Corbello kicks it away. Robert Gillespie 2 yards deep. Tripped up at the 15-yard line. A nice open field tackle by number 49, Ryan O'Neal.
And if Ryan O'Neal does not make this play with an arm tackle there at the ankles, Robert Gillespie was actually off to the races because he had a nice hole to run through.
Final instructions from Steve Spurrier is Grossman, who was 5 for 5 on the Gators' last drive for the touchdown. 7 for 9 overall today with 103 yards and a touchdown.
Very, very efficient.
Grossman gives the ball to Robert Gillespie. Nice surge up the middle for Florida's offensive line. Gillespie carries it to the 22. Gain of about 5 on the first down play.
And a real good job by Robert Gillespie of just tucking in behind the big guy and just moving the pile as he goes forward for 4 or 5 yards. Nice job of staying with the hole, not bouncing it out. You know, sometimes what happens in this Gator running attack is the backs give up on the play and try and bounce it outside and end up losing yardage. That time he tucked in behind and was able to pick up some positive yardage.
Javar Gaffney. Ryan Clark makes the hit on him at the 36-yard line, but Florida has a 1st and 10. Let's go to the field and check in with Larry Vittel.
All right, David, the Gators without Taylor Jacobs right now made that jumping catch around midfield on the last Florida drive. Has a bruised hip, and it's quite painful. Went into the locker room for some treatment, has come back out, but at this point, the sophomore from Tallahassee FAMU not in the ballgame.
Rashae Caldwell, Larry, is lined up wide to the left. Jabbar Gaffney to the right. Todd Frazier, the fullback, and the handoff to Gillespie. Starts to the outside to the 44-yard line. About an 8-yard carry for the native of Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
And this play is possible because the play starts out to his left, but look at the cutoff block there. As you see Thomas Moody out front, you see Kenyatta Walker, Leon Hires. They actually get the seal backside, and then Robert Gillespie was able to come all the way backside and pick up good first down yardage.
To the ground again, Gillespie. Hit by linebacker Brady James. But again, Nat, we see Florida's offense. They've run 4 plays since the LSU field goal, 3 of them on the ground, trying to pick up first downs. Florida's defense was on the field for 5 minutes, 35 seconds, and Steve Spurrier does not want to see them have to go right back out there anytime too soon.
And that's just a good job of play calling as you see James come up and make the play. You know, what you're trying to do is get your back one-on-one in the hole. You can't account for everybody, and that's where Robert Gillespie's either got to make him miss it or run over him, either or.
And to keep the drive going, Grossman with a quarterback sneak to the 47. So this is exactly what Steve Spurrier would like to see happening here.
And exactly what we're seeing here on the quarterback sneak. Rex Grossman tucking in behind Big Mike Pearson and Thomas Moody. His efficiency. You know, last time they took the football, moved it 99 yards, scored a touchdown. This time they know they need to take some time off the clock while moving the football, and they're doing a nice job of running the football right up the middle.
For the audible, Gillespie catches it, knows he's going to have company in a hurry. Just ducks his shoulder and accepts the 2-yard pickup to the 49.
LSU's defense on this particular play, David, wins the battle. They come up, they show Rex Grossman something, he checks off. Now it's not there. Now watch the poise of the young redshirt freshman as he comes off, knows that he's got Gillespie checking down over the middle of the field, gives him the football, picks up 3 or 4 yards, but not a bad play.
Ryan Hoggebrook lines up in the slot to the right. Grossman finds Hoggebrook, first down inside the 40 at the 39-yard line.
And David, did you call it? Ryan Hoggebrook lines up in the slot. When he comes in, most of the time, he will see the football because this guy does nothing but make plays. He's a playmaker. He's not a speed guy, but he runs excellent routes. You see him run that curl, turns in, catches the ball in his hand, and gets the first down before he's brought down by Lydell Thomas.
And look at the numbers on Grossman in the first half. 10 of 12, 132 yards and a touchdown. Steve Spurrier mixing the run and the pass very effectively on this drive as Grossman fires again. It's caught. Gaffney at the 23-yard line of LSU.
Well, we've got a flag down, and usually it's an area where you get called for holding. But what I'm really impressed with these Gator receivers today, unlike in past games, now watch Gaffney catch the football in his hand. There's the holding in the middle of your screen, but watch him catch it in his hand. Turns Booker around, catches the ball in his hand, tucks it away so that the ball doesn't get shook loose. But a better job by the Gator receivers of not trying to catch the ball in their body, but they're catching it in their hand, which means they're gaining confidence.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat the down.
Let's go back and see if we can find this penalty here. And you see Kenyatta Walker blocking outside on number 56, Jeremy Lawrence. And they actually catch him for reaching out and hooking him right up under the shoulder pads.
Until that play, it has been a fairly mistake-free football game for the Gators. No turnovers, and that was the first penalty.
Well, the key is, what do you do from here? If you can pick up 6 to 8 yards, put you in a good second down position. You don't need to get all 20 of it back here. You just need to get positive yardage.
give all the credit to number 59, Jarvis Green. His pressure, his arms waving, forced Grossman to throw the ball behind Robert Gillespie, and as a result, it's an incomplete pass for the Florida Gators.
And the thing you have to worry about when you throw a pass like this, especially when he throws it behind the running back, will the official rule this as a lateral? But looked like the ball was actually tipped as the angle changed, and they ruled it as an incomplete.
One of the few incompleted passes today for Rex Grossman. It is second down at the LSU 49, 2nd and 20. Good balance in the offense today as Grossman has Kite at the 25-yard line. A first down for the Gators. Ryan Clark covering, but what a great route run by Kelvin Kite.
Now, I tell you what, it's a great route run by Kelvin Kite. But if there's any question about Rex Grossman's arm, now watch the zip on this football as he fits it in between two defenders to Kevin Kite before Ryan Clark could get there. Booker is sitting there looking at the ball release, thinking he's going to react back, thinking he's got time to make the play on Kite as well, but it got there in such a hurry that Fred Booker had no chance. Beautiful throw by Rex Grossman.
And Rex really spreading the ball around again today. This time he's looking for Caldwell. And he did not have possession when he was thrust out of bounds. Good effort by Rashay Caldwell. But an even better play there by Lionel Thomas of LSU.
Well, he has a shot at this as he's actually going against a hook fin here, David. And the ball is thrown right on hook fins on the helmet. He reaches back, but he has great concentration. The thing that's impressing me about these receivers today is they're catching the ball in their hands. The concentration seems to be there. We don't have to drop balls.
Second down at the LSU 25. Tigers shifting around as the ball is snapped. Grossman runs for his life. And let's see if there's a flag. LSU looking for an intentional grounding call, and we don't see a yellow flag on the field. So apparently it'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, I know the rule in the pros, if you get outside the tackle, you can intentionally ground the football. I don't know about college, but, you know, here you see he gets some pressure. He realizes that he's going to get pressure from Barnes, so he gets outside, and he just unleashes the football and could easily have been called for grounding a football. Excuse me, that was Howard Green that applied the pressure.
3rd and 10 from the 25. No backs, Grossman throwing. He's got his receiver at the 15, and it looks like it's going to be a Florida first down as Gaffney had just enough turf between the line of scrimmage and that catch to get that first down for the Gators.
Well, David, I'm going to say that it was great heads-up play by Gaffney of knowing what he needed for the first down. I think he was lucky because you are taught as a receiver to get 3 or 4 yards in case you have to come back to the football, and that time he basically got it just by maybe the length of a football.
Keep an eye on Gaffney in the slot to the right. Hagebrook is wide left. Caldwell is wide right. Overthrown, intended for Caldwell. Grossman actually had 2 options there. One about 1 yard line, or the goal line, and Caldwell deep in the end zone.
Well, this here looks like somebody is either too deep or somehow or another they're in the wrong place, because you got 2 receivers right there, and what Grossman did that I thought was excellent is he threw it high where if his guy can't catch it, it's overthrown. He didn't try and fit it into the underneath guy and possibly throw an interception.
Florida has to use a timeout here because they had Rashay Caldwell limping off the field and didn't have 11 players lined up. So rather than mess things up here late in the second quarter, the Gators will use one of their 3 timeouts. They are at the LSU 15-yard line. A low-scoring first half from the Swamp. Florida trying to increase its 7-3 lead against the LSU Tigers. We'll be back in just a moment to Gainesville. Gator fans, tune in to Sunshine Network Sunday afternoon when the Florida women's soccer team will visit the Vanderbilt Commodores. Sunshine will bring you all the action live at 2:30. Sunshine Network, first in Florida sports. 4:47 to play in the first half. Rashay Caldwell limping along the sideline, and he almost made a great catch a moment ago, Nat. In fact, upon further review, it appeared that perhaps he should have been given credit for the catch. The Gators got the first down anyway, and they're 2nd and 10 at the LSU 15-yard line.
And when Steve Spurrier and Dwayne Dixon look at the films on that particular play, as we take another look, you know, they know that they didn't get the catch, but they got to be excited to see Rashay Caldwell playing this well. Great concentration, able to catch it on the bounce and still get his feet down. So, you know, these guys are getting better, and that's all you want to do as a football team. You know, last few weeks, they had drops early in the ball game that put them behind the 8 ball. Today, we have not seen that. We've seen better concentration, more intensity on defense. Offensively, guys are making plays, and that's what this game's all about.
And more of a ball control offense, particularly on this drive for the Gators. 2nd down at the LSU 15. Grossman rifles the ball to Gaffney. At the 11-yard line, good solid tackle by Hookspin.
And this is how you play defense. LSU comes up in a blitz. The Gators check out. You get the ball to your best receiver, Jabbar Gaffney, hoping that he could break the tackle or make the tackler miss. But Demetrius Hookspin come up and make a great open field tackle, putting the Gators in 3rd and 7. A 3rd and 7 situation. Good open field tackle by the corner.
Ball is at the 11. Big play here, and the ball thrown behind Gaffney. He slanted in tight. The ball thrown behind him. And now the Gators will send their field goal team on. That is a big stop for the LSU defense because it'll keep it a 1-score differential.
Right. This will force the Gators to go for the field goal. But, you know, he's got him open. This ball is just a little bit behind Gaffney. It's a double slant route where you bring both the slot and the outside receiver on a 4-yard slant. And if he hits him there, he's got the first down. But the ball is behind him.
28-yard attempt by Jeff Chandler is good. A 16-play drive for the Gators. It didn't end up exactly where Steve Spurrier wanted it to in the end zone. But the Gators come away with 3 points. Hey, Gator fans, check out GatorsVideo.com and order the latest video from the Gators video series. The passion behind a Florida football is a 2-hour behind-the-scenes look at the Gators and their fans, a true collector's item. You don't want to miss this special video. Check out GatorsVideo.com or call 1-800-538-2666. The Gators video series has all the great action of Florida football. Call 1-800-538-2666. For the sideline, Larry.
Well, David, the Gators had a chance to get in the end zone, but one of the things you hate to have close to the goal line is to be without your best targets. And in that case, Rex Grossman was out without 2 of his top 3. Taylor Jacobs had already left the game with his hip injury, and Rashay Caldwell on that leap in the end zone injured his ankle. They've retaped it. They'll give him a chance to see how he responds to that and if he can go back in. But when you're down around the goal line, you want your best guys out there, and the Gators were without 2 of their top 3 receivers.
Well, David, the Gators have not shown us an offensive explosion, but in 4 possessions, the last 2 possessions, they went 99 yards, and on the last drive, they went 72 yards and had to settle for a field goal. They took 6 minutes and 16 seconds off the clock, and that's really big for your defense, who in the first half have forced the Tigers to punt the ball 3 times, and last time after they had the ball for 12 plays, forced them to settle for a field goal. So far, the new game plan is working.
And a rarity, man, I think the Gators might lead the game in terms of time of possession at the end of the first half. As the ball is down by Davis in the end zone, LSU will get it at their 20. Now, the Tiger offense has not been completely impotent today. They have shown an ability to move the football, and this is only a 1-touchdown difference with 3:56 to play in the second quarter. Rohan Davey, very dangerous back there, even though it seems that he has re-injured his leg, his ankle, knee. Not sure exactly which part of it, but he's hobbling a little bit again, as he did last week against Tennessee. They love to run that I formation with Banks, the fullback. Davis, though, is swarmed at the 20-yard line. Hardman is there, And so is big Thomas Pittman, along with Robert Cromartie. Cromartie's been in on several tackles. There you see him.
Well, Cromartie normally plays the short side corner, and he lines up actually in like a linebacker slot. Now watch him step up in there. This is a little guy, 5'8", 187 pounds. He's the first guy to step up and get in on the tackle. You see Buck Gurley also come into your picture.
Gators have 9 men up near the line of scrimmage as Davey rolls to his left. He's chased. Pittman runs him down and drives him to the turf at the 19-yard line. Here is a 22-year-old freshman, signed originally with Auburn, played some minor league baseball, and now a freshman with the Gators.
And what they're trying to do with this little play action is get the ball to the tight end down the middle of the field. But a nice job by Pittman of fighting off the blocker. There we go again. Fighting off the blocker and getting in the backfield and bringing down Davey for the sack. Thomas Pittman, a freshman out of Garyville, Louisiana.
He's one of those Chris Winkie type freshmen, though. He's got a little age and maturity on him. And a Louisiana native. It's 3rd down and 11. Will protect him this time for Davey. He's looking for Myers. He overthrows him. Jarrell Myers had 2 steps on Robert Cromartie, but the pass by Davey was overthrown.
Well, he definitely had Myers open, possibly for the 6 as he gets behind Cromartie, but a good job of blocking by the offensive line as the Gators come with a 4-man rush, and you got a clean pocket. You know, Rohan Davies should be able to hit this as we see Myers run the corner route, and he's wide open, and if he catches this football, it could have been a foot race.
We saw Daryl Dixon, the safety, coming into the screen at the end of the play. Jones hangs it high. Shepard from the 35-yard line. They got a block. And about a 15-yard return for Lito Shepard. The Gators will have 2:10 left in the second quarter. And excellent field position at the 50-yard line. And remember, Florida's average touchdown drive coming into the game was taking up only 1:55. So you would think there'd be ample time for Rex Grossman and company to get some offensive fireworks done here.
And basically what you'd like to see the Gators do here with 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go into the remainder of the half is drive the ball down, take the time off the clock, and put some points on the board. But you want to control the football the remainder of the first half.
Gillespie gets the handoff. Falk makes the tackle. Ball comes out of there, but it's after the play is blown dead. And there is a flag down as well. All kinds of things happening on this particular play. Trev Falk, number 7. Kevin Falk's cousin, former running back for the LSU Tigers. And the penalty going against the Gators.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat the down.
Let's go back and see if we can see what happened on this particular play. Here you see Leon Hires working on the right side of your screen and just reaches out and grabs the the defensive tackle Barnes. And you know, whenever your arms get extended away from your body, it's easy for the officials to see and interpret the holding.
From the spot of the penalty, it'll make it 1st down and 18. Grossman stands in that pocket forever and delivers the ball to Hagebrook. At the 45-yard line, Brian Hagebrook gets most of all of that penalty yardage back, plus 5 more yards to the 45.
But this ball, as Grossman releases it, looks like it's going to be overthrown out of bounds. But watch Brian Hagebrook go up and catch the football. But even more so, he's aware of where he's at on the sideline as he starts to walk the sideline to pick up additional yardage. Nice play by Brian Hagebrook.
Now it's a very workable 2nd and 5, especially when you got Gillespie running the football. It's a foot race. Gillespie, angling for the corner of the end zone, is caught from behind by Damian James. But it will be 1st and goal for the Gators.
Now, you're talking about a young man being aware of what's going on around him as we'll see Gillespie step through an arm tackle here. Good block by Rod Frazier. Steps through an arm tackle. Now watch him aware of Damian James and See how he's trying to keep that football away because he knows that James is going to try and strip it out, but he starts angling to the corner to try and keep him from swatting the ball out.
First down at the 8. Gators have 2 timeouts remaining. The play clock is at 1, and the Gators had called timeout. Fullback Rod Frazier had stepped back away to stop the clock. And as he saw that play clock ticking down and didn't want to see his team penalized, the Gators now will have just 1 timeout remaining with 1:04 left in the period. And they'll still be first and goal at the LSU 8-yard line. Steve Spurrier's Gators getting some excellent play from tailback Robert Gillespie running it and throwing it effectively today. For all the latest on the Gators and sports in Florida, click on sunshine.com, offering news, notes, and opinions by some of the state's best sports columnists and reporters. Want to talk about the Gators while you're there? Well, you can do it. Click on the message boards, sunshinenetwork.com, your web source for Florida sports. Kawan Ratliff returned the punt near midfield rather than Lito Shepard.
They got a problem. They haven't covered. They have not covered they're missing a guy. It look like the Gators are missing a player.
And the play is stopped. Did LSU take a timeout before the ball was snapped?
Well, if LSU took a timeout, David, as I started to say.
Out. LSU,
Yep.
That's their second.
They just saved the Gators. Yeah. Here you see James, and as well as Falk calling timeout, but you can't see it in your picture, but the Gators do not have a receiver on the left side covering up Mike Pearson. The Gators were going to be guilty of an illegal formation, and LSU calls timeout.
Number 11, Brady James, didn't like what his defense was in for the play that the Gators had apparently called, but obviously didn't realize that Florida didn't have the proper alignment.
Well, it's kind of hard to get your defense lined up when there's somebody missing on offense. Why is everybody over here? Well, it's because there's nobody over on the left side there, Mr. James. Oh, man.
Just to go back, once again, the punt return was made by Ratliff. Apparently, Lito Shepard a little bit slightly injured in the first half of this game. There's Spurrier reacting to the timeout. He's saying thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. James.
Oh.
There's the sophomore linebacker, last year an all-freshman member of the Southeastern Conference. This LSU team on the upward swing under Nick Saban. There's not much question about that, I don't think. He just a very solid coach, has coached in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns and did a great job in the MAC for a season as head coach at Toledo. Now the Gators are first down at the 8-yard line. Graham is in the game. He looks to throw the ball for the end zone, and it is incomplete. Gaffney, the intended receiver. Fred Booker batted the ball away.
Well, Booker had great coverage the whole time, and LSU was not fooled as the Gators came back with that same formation, and I guess they must have ran a tackle-eligible play because, once again, Mike Pearson was not covered. And there you see Booker doing a nice job of just covering Gaffney. He's not fooled by Gaffney's fake attempt to block him, and he just reaches in and knocks it out.
And that's a good play by the senior from Hammond, Louisiana. It's second down and goal. 58 seconds left in the second period. Florida leading LSU 10-3. Grossman runs away from Barnes. And the Tigers bury him at the 10-yard line. Florida has 1 timeout remaining. The clock is ticking with 45 seconds left in the period. And the Gators will use their timeout. Well, Rex Grossman unable to find an open receiver. Has to run the football. Florida has no timeouts left. 36 seconds to play in a half. A 7-point lead for Florida. We are back in the swamp. Florida leading LSU 10-3. The Gators threatening to put some more points up on the scoreboard with only 36 seconds left in the first half. The Gators drive started near the 50-yard line after a 15-yard punt return by Ratliff. And now it's going to be 3rd down and goal. Steve Spurrier with the conference going on. And Nick Saban talking with his defense.
Well, the Gators would be very happy with being able to control the clock, but you know, you got to get points on the board. LSU would be very content after having the ball 1st and goal to force the Gators to have to settle for a field goal try, as we see the Gators come back out and go with their 4 wide. You know, what they cannot do at this particular point, they want to get the ball into the end zone, but you cannot turn it over, David.
Taylor Jacobs is back in the game. The ball snapped over Grossman's head. He picks it up and throws it. Touchdown, Gaffney. Just like you draw it up.
I don't know if that's how you draw it up, but that is called being very calm, very cool, going back, picking up the football, knowing that you've got Gaffney isolated one-on-one, and then in the face of pressure, as you see the bad snap again. Now watch him keep his composure. Know he's going to get drilled, and delivers the football for the touchdown.
Wow. What a play by Rex Grossman. And Chandler's extra point is good. And the happiest guy in the stadium is David Jorgensen. The man who snapped the ball over the head of Grossman.
God. You would think that this is something that you got worked out, and you know what he's doing and what happens here. He brings the ball up too high when he snaps it because he's trying to get the ball snapped and then get his block. But that time, he snapped it over the head of Rex Grossman. Grossman went back, caught it on a perfect bounce, turned around, saw the tacklers coming, and delivered the ball to Jabbar Gaffney for the touchdown.
Well, it was deja vu all over again for a moment there as Jorgensen snapped the ball over the head of the quarterback. Of course, he's not happy with himself right now, but his teammates are telling him it's okay. You got to pass on this one, big fella, because your quarterback bailed you out.
Well, he knows that he actually caught a break there, but you know, the bottom line is, if he doesn't get that corrected, that means that the Gators have got to get away from the shotgun, and you know, that's such an important part of your arsenal that there's no way that you would like to stop using the shotgun, because it gives the quarterback a few extra seconds to look downfield and throw the football.
And how disheartening must it be for the LSU football team now to watch that ball soar over the head of the quarterback. It looks like you've got him stopped, and then Grossman makes a spectacular play to Gaffney. Chandler, I'm looking up at the flagpole. It does not look like he has the wind at his back. In fact, it looks just the opposite. Unless the breeze is swirling inside the stadium, Chandler just drilled that ball.
Well, you know, after you have a play like that go in your direction as the guy kicking off, you know, you can't be the one to drop the ball. So I would say there's a little adrenaline flowing in Jeff Chandler.
Senior from Jacksonville, has had a wonderful career with the Gators. LSU only 29 seconds left. Let's see if they try and do something offensively. They'll keep it on the ground with Dominic Davis. Very conservative play on first down. They have a timeout left, but they might be content to let the clock tick down and head to the locker room. In fact, that's exactly what is happening. The team is already headed in that direction from the sideline, and LSU will not run another play. Well, you have to say, Matt, that this has been just what Steve Spurrier's team needed here in the first half. A ball control offense, a defense that has pretty much shut down the LSU Tigers in a 2-touchdown lead.
Well, as the Gators needed some help, they've got it here today. They've caught some breaks. They've been able to move the football down the field, control the clock, and keep the defense on the sideline.
Halftime score, the Gators 17, the LSU Tigers 3. Halftime score from the Swamp in Gainesville, the Gators 17, the LSU Tigers 3. Impressive first half of football for the Florida Gators. They hold the Tigers without a touchdown and lead it 17-3, scoring a late touchdown in the second quarter. Not exactly the way you draw it up.
Well, this is just being very, very lucky and fortunate, as well as good, as Rex Grossman does not panic after the bad snap, gets possession of the football, and then finds his favorite target, Jabbar Gaffney, for 6 points.
He knew where Gaffney was going to be. Figured Jabbar would find a way. And he did. 2 touchdown catches for Gaffney in the first half. Florida leads it 17-3. We'll be back. It is halftime in Gainesville, Florida. Southeastern Conference football. The Gators and the LSU Tigers. And it's time for this week's University of Florida halftime report. On this edition of the Research Report, we find out what's new at the Brain Institute, including how they're assisting in ways of treating age-related memory problems.
Now from the University of Florida, where performance counts, the Research Report, highlighting research that could make a difference in your life.
Millions of Americans suffer from the effects of age-related memory loss. Now, the University of Florida's Brain Institute is working to change that. A $15 million gift from the McKnight Brain Research Foundation fuels the effort. It targets the advancement of research into treating age-related memory problems.
This is the largest single gift ever received by the University of Florida, and it is eligible for a dollar-for-dollar match from the state of Florida Major Gifts Trust Fund, which brings the total value of the gift for the purposes for which it was given clearly to $30 million.
The Brain Institute houses research projects designed to improve medical knowledge about the brain. Ongoing projects include new approaches to treat medical problems, ranging from head trauma to the prevention of seizures. Elsewhere in the Brain Institute, a very powerful resource could assist in all those efforts. It's arguably the most powerful medical imaging research magnet in the world. The 24-ton magnet wields about 230,000 times more power than the Earth's magnetic field. Researchers will use the device to study diseases and injuries of the spine and nervous system in laboratory animals.
The public has certainly seen images, MRI images of human brains and other animals before. Obviously, this magnet will take pictures that are much higher resolution than anything that anybody's ever seen before in a large animal. So it affords us the opportunity to do research. And that's what it is. It is a research magnet on animals.
Scientists hope the clearer images produced by the magnet will advance research into spinal cord injuries and diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. At the University of Florida, I'm Quentin Iman reporting.
This has been a research report from the University of Florida, one of the nation's top public universities.
Halftime in Gainesville. When we come back, we'll take a look at first half stats and highlights, the Gators and the Tigers. Florida Gators a 2-touchdown lead over the LSU Tigers at the end of the first half from the Swamp in Gainesville. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first half. 2 touchdown passes from Grossman to Gaffney, and here is the first in the first quarter.
And this is a combination to be reckoned with as we go through the season. Rex Grossman does a nice job of hitting Jabbar Gaffney with a 26-yard corner route as he beats Fred Booker for the touchdown. And then here you see Josh Reed. The LSU Tigers had the opportunity. This is a potential touchdown pass that Josh Reed just flat out dropped. And then Thomas Pittman coming on the sack. We've been talking about getting some pressure defensively. Freshman Thomas Pittman comes up with the sack on Rohan Davey. And the Gators have been looking for a running game. Robert Gillespie goes 37 yards to give the Gators first and goal inside the 10-yard line. And then on this fluke play, as David Jurgensen once again snaps the ball over the head of Grossman, he's able to keep his composure as he's being hit by Robert Davis and get the ball to Jabbar Gaffney for his second touchdown catch of the day. And as you can see, when you look at statistics, the Gators have ran the ball much better today. They ran the ball for 66 yards in the first half, when last week they were minus 70-some yards at the end of the ball game. And look at the time of possession. The Gators is not a team, David, that normally control the clock, and today they have control the clock here in the first half.
And the result, a 17-3 lead over the LSU Tigers. To the sideline, and Larry Vittel.
Well, David, in that, there's no question running the ball better has been a big part of a good first half for the Florida Gators. Stopping the run better has also been a big part of a better first half for this Gator defense. They've come out and gotten a lot more hats around the ball. Yeah, they've given up some 14, 15-yard runs. They're getting a lot more guys involved in the run defense. They've made a couple of stops on 3rd and short. Their confidence is growing, and they're going to continue to pressure Rohan Davey when they're back on the field, which will be after the offense gets the first shot in the second half.
Robert Gillespie urging the sellout crowd in the swamp to get behind the Gators. They lead 17-3. Gillespie. Robert Gillespie urging the sellout crowd in the swamp to get behind the Gators. They lead 17-3. Gillespie and Kewan Ratliff are the deep men for the Florida Gators. Lito Shepherd was shaken up in the first half of the game, and Ratliff returned the last punt for the Florida Gators in the first half, and now he'll be standing deep alongside Gillespie near the end zone.
And you can ill-advise to lose a talent of Lito Shepherd's ability returning kicks. Special teams is very important, but he brings so much to the plate on defense, playing that corner position that, you know, after a while you get him a little shook up. You want to pull him. You don't want to take a chance on getting him hurt badly.
John Corbello kicks off to begin the second half from Gainesville. Gillespie from the goal line. He's on his feet to the 20, and that is it. Gator football at the 20-yard line. First half quarterback comparison. Rex Grossman, the redshirt freshman. Rohan Davey.
Well, last week, Rohan Davey had a great ball game, and so far this Gator defense has stiffened up and held him to only 4 completions. And Rex Grossman have shown a lot of poise and continually moved the ball around to different receivers as he's lost some receivers, but continually finding the open guy, not making the middle mistake.
Well, it could be that LSU thought, having watched video the last 3 Florida games, they could come in here and run the football and control the ball against the Gators. Florida did a good job against their run. We'll see if LSU opens things up a little bit in the second half offensively. As Gillespie carries the ball for about 10 yards on the first play of the third quarter. And Gillespie didn't start today, but he looks awfully good in relief.
Well, Robert Gillespie, every time he's had a chance to perform, he's looked good. But you see the offensive line coming off the ball. You see Thomas Moody out front getting a block. And then Robert Gillespie just trying to run over Ryan Clark to pick up the first down. Came up a few inches short, but a good first down play, picking up 9, almost 10 yards on the run.
Gillespie had 57 yards in the first half. Second down and short yardage, inches for the Gators. And a flag is thrown. I'm pretty sure the clock expired and Florida didn't get the ball snapped in time.
Now, David, for as good as I was talking about Rex Grossman and the way he's been handling that offense, you know, you've got to be aware of the clock. You've got second and inches. The last thing you want is the play clock to expire, putting you back on second and medium, where at second and inches, you can run almost any play, and the defense just have to play honest and try and play the play. Now, the defensive coordinator can look at your tendencies on second and medium and play that when he calls his defensive coverage.
2nd and 5, Gillespie. Gets it back near the 30. It'll be 3rd and short, less than a yard now for the Gators. Their first possession of the third quarter, always important to establish for both teams early in the second half.
Good blocking by Kenyatta Walker and Leon Hires. David Jorgensen opening up a little small crack for Robert Gillespie to squirt through, picking up 4 yards, making it 3rd and 1.
Well, the right guard moved. And here comes the flag. So 5 more yards will be marked off against Florida's offense. Not a good start to the second half for the Gators, and they played so well with very few mistakes in the first half of the game.
And this is not a team, David, that can afford to continually stop themselves with penalties, as we see Leon Hires rocks forward, and the side judge called it.
Now, the Gators only had 2 penalties in the first half. They've been flagged twice in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter.
And you think that the Gators had second and inches, and if they're not able to pick up this first down, it's because of 2 back-to-back penalties that took them out of good field position.
Grossman, Frazier can't hold on to it. I don't think he had a first down even if he makes the catch, because LSU had defenders in the area. And the Gators will have to punt the ball away. after being second in inches.
And this is what happens with penalties. You've ran the football exceptionally well coming out here to start the second half, and now you're forced to throw the football on 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, and the quarterback gets flushed as he's trying to throw the ball on the run, throws it behind Davis. Fortunately enough, the ball hit the ground and didn't get popped up, possibly interception or turnover.
So Allen Ryan punts for the 3rd time today. This has a great chance to be returned. Davis caught it on a dead run. Dominic Davis inside the 35 to the 31-yard line. So a very poor punt after a couple of penalties for the Gators. And LSU has momentum on its side, even though they trail by 2 touchdowns. This game is brought to you in part by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different. And by SunTrust Bank. Florida's offense not able to pick up the first down. And LSU, after a short punt and a nice return by Dominic Davis, will have the football at the Florida 32-yard line. So the Gators were second in inches at their own 29.5, almost at the 30. They don't get a first down, and LSU has it almost in that same spot, 1st and 10.
And you know, what happens when you make mistakes of that nature and then you compound the situation with a bad punt, all of a sudden you've given up tremendous field position, and you give the Tigers a short field of 32 yards to put points on the board. You know, coming out in the 3rd quarter, what you want to do as a football team is take control, especially when you have the lead, not giving your opponents a chance or a possible thought in their mind that they could come back and win this football game. So the mental mistakes stopped the drive, didn't allow the Gators to control the football, and then on top of that, special teams, a bad punt, and really not good coverage on the punt has put LSU in a great position.
If the Tigers can score a touchdown here, they're down by just 1 touchdown. Very early in the 3rd period. We have been told that Lito Shepherd will not return this afternoon with a hamstring injury. Davey fakes the reverse. He wants the fullback, but it's picked off. Banks, the intended receiver. Nateel with the interception.
An excellent play by Mike Nateel, working on Tommy Banks as the Tigers come with a little razzle-dazzle, and it backfires. You know, we used to sitting up here watching the Gators do a little razzle-dazzle. You know, here you see Rohan Davey, nice job of play action, but he doesn't fool the tackle, Gerard Warren, and he forces him to throw it early. And Mike Nateel, playing his position, keeps his head up and makes the play as he goes up real high for the interception. Big defensive play by Mike Nateel.
His first career interception with the Gators. Banks has made some big plays through the years for the LSU offense. In fact, had a touchdown run against Florida in their win over the Gators in '97. Gillespie breaks a tackle. To the 20-yard line, Robert Gillespie gets almost 5 yards on first down.
Well, sometimes you just have to avoid the tackling yourself, as he's got a block out front. He's got Leon Hires. He just runs by his guy, and then Rod Frazier ends up taking him, and Robert Gillespie stuck out there in no man's land. He makes the first guy misses and picks up a few yards on his own.
Gillespie averaging about 8 yards per carry today. Gillespie again to the 25-yard line. That should be a Florida first down. The linebacker, Trev Falk, made the stop.
And the Gators are getting all of this yardage right up the middle, where you've got Thomas Moody, David Jorgensen, Leon Hires. Nice job of blocking, and all he's doing is tucking in behind Rod Frazier, who takes on James, clears the path for Robert Gillespie to fall forward, hopefully enough for the first down.
Timeout for the measurement. I think this is our first measurement of the afternoon. And it is a Florida 1st and 10. So no second and inches on this series. The Gators get the first down.
There's another look. The Gators last week was not able to run the football and was forced to throw it every down. And today they've rushed for 90 yards. You know, I guess there's a misconception when it comes to these Gator backs, because both Robert Gillespie and Ernest Graham came into this ball game, even as dismal as they were last week, averaging 5.4 yards per carry. So sometimes the statistic is misleading.
I think often that rushing statistic is misleading. Grossman, a quick release, has Caldwell. Brashay Caldwell's first catch of the afternoon, at least the first one they've given him. He had a great catch in the first half that was taken away. They said he didn't have possession, but he made sure of this one at the 40-yard line.
And this is another checkoff by Grossman as he goes back and he finds Brashay Caldwell on the little slant route. Nice job of turning the defender hook spin and then catching the football, picking up the first down.
But your rushing yardage reflects also quarterback sacks. And for instance, those 2 snaps over the head of the quarterback, almost 50 yards went on your rushing statistics last week against Mississippi State.
Well, not only those yardage, but, you know, in the first half, the Gators had a minus 27 yards rushing, and all those were quarterback sacks, 3 quarterback sacks. So sometimes statistics are very misleading because of the 75 yards that the Gators were minus in rushing. It was all on errant plays by either the center snapping the ball over the quarterback's head or pass protection breaking down, and a sack is considered rushing.
Grossman rolling right, setting up. His receiver, Gaffney, is all by himself. Jabbar Gaffney, touchdown, his third of the day.
And what route was he running once again? The corner route. You would think at some point they would say, if Gaffney starts toward the sideline on anything, we're going to be out there. As he just flat outran Ryan Clark to free safety. You know, we've been talking about trying to find some receivers with speed. Jabbar Gaffney shows me that even though he might be a chip up off the old block of Derek Gaffney, he has speed, which his dad did not have. Now watch him turn on the afterburners as he outruns Ryan Clark for the touchdown.
And the extra point makes it 24-3. Gaffney, 3 touchdown receptions today from freshman quarterback Rex Grossman. 10:32 to play in the third quarter. The Gators lead it by 21. This game is brought to you in part by CNI, where DSL lives up to speed. By wireless from AT&T, your world close at hand. And by your Florida Orange Growers, proud sponsors of the Gators.
Here's another look at the touchdown to Jabbar Gaffney. As you see, number 28, Lionel James, takes the tight end, and Gaffney coming all the way across the field on a crossing route, and there's just no one at home as he came from his slot position, and Ryan Clark does not have the speed to keep him out of the end zone.
What a day for Gaffney. 8 catches now. And 128 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's having one of the finest days in Florida football history for a wide receiver.
Well, you know, one of the things that the Gators have looked at is we see the scoring drive, 4 plays, 85 yards. That's back to the old Gator offense instead of controlling the clock. But one of the things that's happening with Jabbar Gaffney is the Gators have found the guy that can put the ball in the end zone, and he has proven it all year long. So it's a good thing that the guy came back, walked on after having some trouble, and said, I want to be a Gator. You know, my family, everybody that, my uncles all played for the Gators. I want to play for the Gators. I made a mistake, and I'm ready to atone for it.
Had to pay his own way to get back on the team. Lost his scholarship, did Gaffney. But he is back and has 7 touchdown catches for the season. And you saw Chandler a moment ago. What a job he's done kicking the ball through the end zone. The new LSU quarterback is Josh Booty, junior from Shreveport. He played at the same high school as Florida's Brock Berlin just a few years earlier. Tofield is back at tailback. Well, the Gators are pumped up now on both sides of the football. Gurley and company. Natil, who had the interception a moment ago, was also among the first Gators on the spot.
And this time, what happens here? Mike Natil beats his block. Also, Alex Brown beats his block, forces Tofield back into the inside, and watch when he hit it back inside. There you see Mike Natile right there making the tackle. You see Travis Harris coming in on the play. Gang tackling by that Gator defense.
They have held LSU to just a field goal today. Booty throwing. It is almost picked off, but caught. The pass is caught by Robinson after it looked like it might be a touchdown for the Gators.
Well, Benny Alexander is going to have nightmares watching this film, because what happens here is he sees nothing but the end zone as he steps in front of Reggie Robinson, and the ball goes through his hands. Robinson maintains his concentration and catches the football on the bobble and picks up a first down.
Well, Benny like to have another shot at that one.
Oh, man, wouldn't you? That's a quarterback's dream.
Josh Booty, starting quarterback when this season began. Big money. Gerard Warren is there, but it's well, it was Alex Brown that stepped in there and broke things up quickly.
And this is the kind of plays that we've been looking for from Alex Brown as Gerard Warren makes the tackle. But watch this time when we go back and take a look at, watch Alex Brown comes around the tackle and watch him knife hard inside, gets in on the play, forces Davis back into Gerard Warren. Here's another look at it. Here's a better angle. Now watch there. Alex Brown, he's being tackled by the tight end, Royal, but a great job of forcing everything inside.
Booty has time. Reed can't make the catch.
And that's the second ball today that was very, very catchable. And Josh Reed just did not come down with it. Robert Cromartie was right there to make the hit as the ball is coming in. But this is a catchable ball, not a perfectly thrown ball, but this is one that should be caught. And what you see is, watch him try and catch it in his body instead of reaching back, catching the football in his hands. And there you see Robert Cromartie celebrating the incomplete pass.
3rd and 11. Booty steps up. Pass caught. First down for the Tigers. It's Robinson at the 43-yard line. So Josh Booty trying to spark LSU's offense. He watched Davey last week take them to the win against Tennessee, but he's got a chance to lead this LSU football team here today.
And that time, you know, John Hope came with a blitz, and they were able to complete this pass, but once again, the tackle gets pushed wide, and he gets pushed right into the lane where you've got the blitzing safety coming. You know, they've got to have better coordination on their blitzes. If the tackle doesn't get pushed wide, the blitzer comes free, and Josh Booty never gets this pass off.
Tofield runs into Travis Harris. Mike Natile also in on the play. Gators doing a good job against the run in the third quarter. 7:39 to play.
And what they're doing, David, they're just winning the battle. They're playing two gap. They're stacking it up as you see Travis Harris come in, number 27, the true freshman at the middle linebacker slot, getting in on the tackle. Both he and Mike Natile.
2nd and 9 at the 44. Booty's pass caught. Manuel delivers a bone-jarring hit on Tofield at the 49-yard line.
And I tell you what, LeBrandon Tofield showed me that he's a real ball carrier on this, because Marquand Manuel, I mean, he goes for the knockout shot here. Watch this here. Boom, soon as he turns, he hits him right up under the chin strap, and that ball should have been shook loose, but it shows me that Tofield is a player.
Marquand Manuel has made several big plays today. It's 3rd down and 4 for LSU. Booty. First down, the tight end has the football. That is Royal at the 35-yard line. So LSU has converted a couple of 3rd down plays behind Josh Booty. Harold Dixon made the tackle.
And what makes this play here, they get the ball to Royal, is Robert Cromartie bites on Tofield coming out of the backfield, where if he's the guy that's supposed to be that short outside, it would have been the one to make it difficult for Royal to catch the football, as we see Dixon comes up and makes the tackle after the catch for the first down.
Royal had a touchdown catch last year against the Florida Gators. Moody hit from behind as he throws, picked off Natil. Second interception of the day. Natil at midfield. Still on his feet. No, they say he stepped out of bounds.
He stepped out.
Up around the 45-yard line. He almost made a huge play, but it's still a big play from Natil and the Gator defense.
Well, you know, you wait for players to step up and say, you know, we're tired of everybody picking on us. We've been talking about the play of the linebackers. Well, Mike Natil gets his chance today as he comes up with the second pick. You see the pressure from Kennard Ellis forcing the errant throw, but Natil is alert, catches the football. He comes very close as he stepped out of bounds a long way, but came very close of pushing back inside and maybe taking it for the distance. I know that his big uncle, Ricky Natil, is very proud of him here today.
2 interceptions today for Natil. LSU swarming on defense. That is a big hit made by number 56, Jeremy Lawrence. No gain on the play. It'll be second down and 10.
Out by Lawrence.
Florida leads it 24-3 with 5.5 minutes remaining in the third. The Gators led 17-3 at the half. Rex Grossman has thrown 3 touchdown passes, all of them to Jabbar Gaffney. Grossman throwing to Caldwell. Caldwell holding on to the football at the 32-yard line. And Brett Booker was right there all over it.
Now, Rashay Caldwell, who injured his ankle earlier in the ball game, comes back into the ball game, and so did Taylor Jacobs, who hurt his hip. Here's a nice job of going up, catching the football in his hands by Rashay Caldwell. Booker has great coverage position, but because he extended his hands, went out and met the football, the reception is made.
Grossman has gone the distance at quarterback for the Gators, and those numbers you just saw are wide. And off to Gillespie. Gators running it between the tackles effectively today. Gillespie to the 28-yard line. Let's go to the field and Larry.
All right, David, as the Gators try to add to their lead, the LSU quarterback situation a great concern for the Tigers. Rohan Davey re-injured his left ankle, which was sore coming into the game. Of course, he's rebuilding that left knee, so he is really having a lot of pain, a lot of trouble. He's out. Josh Booty lost the job because of 4 interceptions against UAB. He is interception prone. He threw 19 last year, and of course, he's thrown one already in his first possession in Gainesville.
Almost threw another one earlier for what would have been a Florida touchdown if Alexander makes the play. Caldwell, the receiver. LSU has double coverage, and the pass is incomplete.
Great job.
Ryan Clark and Hookfin.
Well, Hookfin and Clark is back there, but the guy that makes this play is Trevorance Falk. The middle linebacker stands up as soon as Grossman checks off and checks out of the defense, checks it to its zone, and there you see you got double coverage with both Clark and Hookfin around Rashay Caldwell.
The ball is at the LSU 29. 3rd and 7. Draw play to Gillespie. He is driven down by Howard Green. Maybe a yard to the 27-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down for the Gators, and see if Steve Spurrier calls upon the strong leg of Jeff Chandler.
Well, David, you know, this play doesn't pick up the first down as they go with a draw to Gillespie, but you can see that the young fella at quarterback, Rex Grossman, is learning. Last time he came up, he checked off. He saw Falk check to a defense, a zone. This time he comes up, he checks off, or fakes check off, and runs the draw.
44-yard attempt. Chandler has plenty of leg, and the kick is good. Chandler's second field goal today. He drilled one from 28 back in the second quarter, and this one is good from 44 yards out. The Gators add to their lead. Florida 27, LSU 3. 3:20 to play in the third quarter. This game is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Best parts, best service, best price.
Well, Mike Nattiel has been a big playmaker here in the second half as his interceptions as the ball is intended here for Tommy Banks have led to 10 points. Once again, Josh Booty gets hit, and who's there? Mike Nattiel. 2 interceptions. The Gators have turned them into 10 points here in the second half. Big play by the defense, especially the linebacker, Mike Nattiel.
And Kennard Ellis has made a couple of big plays today also. He hit the quarterback as he delivered the football. Ellis has played well today also, as has the entire Florida defense. With 3:20 to play in the third quarter, they've held LSU to just 3 points.
And I tell you what I'm seeing out there, David. I'm seeing intensity, and it looked like they're flying around and having fun. They're not worried about making mistakes. I think this week Steve Spurrier took the edge off and finally said that instead of talking about how bad they were was going to just do some coaching and let the guys get back to having fun, and look like they're having fun out there today.
Chandler has been kicking them deep all day. And that is a great defense against a team that is capable of running a big one back. LSU is 3rd in the SEC in kick returns, but they have not been a factor in that department today, thanks to the strong leg of Jeff Chandler.
And that is a weapon, because anybody that knows anything about football, David, knows that when you force a team to go the length of the football field, or every time they start out on their 20-yard line or less, chances are 1 out of 12 times they will not put points on the scoreboard.
Larry mentioned Josh Booty's inclination to throw interceptions. He's thrown 27 interceptions now in his LSU career and only 13 touchdowns. He signed with LSU back in '94. He was the USA Today High School Player of the Year. Then he went off and played professional baseball with the Marlins organization for 5 years. Actually played in 13 major league games for the Marlins, had 26 at-bats. But went back to LSU to become the quarterback of the football team. He started 8 games last year. Was the starting quarterback early this season. Lost his job to Davey after he was injured. And now he's got the job back, apparently, due to an injury to Rohan Davey. Davis catches the ball on a dead run down the sideline as Fleming missed him. Todd Johnson back by himself. And now gets some help, and down goes Davis at the 26-yard line. A big play for the Tigers.
And this is just an excellent design play where you're trying to get your tailback, your fastest tailback, isolated on the middle linebacker. I mean, the outside Sam linebacker has to take the tight end, and Reed Fleming has to come from his middle linebacker slot to try and make the play. And with the speed of Dominic Davis, it's just not going to happen. As you see a big play, and finally the grass itself became too high and tackled it.
Tripped over the 30-yard line, didn't it? It's first down for the Tigers, their best threat for some time now. Tofield carries the football and is dropped at the 23. That's Travis Harris, Marquand Manuel in on the stop for the Gators. We've called Manuel's name on numerous occasions today.
Well, the Gators have given up some big plays, but then they've been able to bounce back, as you see Travis Harris beating the block, getting inside, squeezing the hole early, not giving Tofield a big gap to run through.
Give off to Tofield up the middle. Lefebvre tripped him up at about the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 4. That's Bud Gurley, Thad Bullard in there, bringing things up for the Gator defense.
Good job by Thad Bullard and Alex Brown, of squeezing things down. He gets blocked, but what he did was he forced Tofield back inside, and that allowed Buck Gurley to come off a block and make the tackle. You see both he and Thad Bullard getting in on the play. But a nice job by Alex Brown of not getting pushed out and squeezing the hole there.
3rd down from the Florida 20. Booty rolling out. He's got Banks. First down, driven down from behind by Owens at the 5-yard line, where it will be 1st down and goal to go for the LSU Tigers.
And this is a very tough play for the defender. You got Daryl Owens that is actually trying to take on the fullback, and in the process, the fullback slips by him. He's thinking he's going to block him. He slips by him, catches the football, and there you see Daryl Owens trailing. But you've got to take that guy on.
And off to Tofield, hit behind the line of scrimmage. Owens came, or rather that is Natil again, who has made so many big plays today, including a pair of interceptions. Hit him at about the line of scrimmage. Tofield may have gotten it inside the 5.
And here, look, they're not waiting for the back to come through the hole. They're seeing a gap, and they're shooting the gap, and they're meeting the back in the hole, David. That's a big difference in what we've seen the last 2 weeks. As you see, Mike Natil comes in and catches Tofield before he can hit it up inside.
And that is going to be the final play of the 3rd period. The Gators led 17-3 at the end of the half and have added 10 more points in the 3rd. LSU, however, threatening as we go to the final 15 minutes from the swamp. Our score, the Gators 27, the Tigers 3. Season tickets are on sale now for the upcoming Lady Gator basketball campaign. If you'd like more information, call 1-800-34-GATOR. Lady Gator hoops, we come to play. The LSU Tigers, with their fans, about 8,000 of them on this side of the field, will have the football at the Florida 5-yard line. It'll be 2nd down for LSU and goal to go. Florida leads the Tigers 27-3 in the 4th quarter. David Steele, Nat Moore, Larry Battelle with you from Gainesville on just a beautiful autumn afternoon. A cold front passed through earlier today, and the temperatures have been very nice in the 70-75 degree range throughout the afternoon.
Well, the Gators come in with their dime as they bring in Gus Scott and also Daryl Dixon. So they're expecting the 3-wide position, and they wanted to get their best defenders on the field. So,
well, it's 2nd down, and it'll be Booty from the shotgun for the end zone. Overthrown. He wanted the tight end Royal, and he threw it too high and incomplete.
He might have thrown it a little high there, but I've got to give Benny Alexander some props on this one, because he knows that he's got to go up against the big tight end Royal. As you see pressure coming on the blitz, there you see Gus Scott as well as number 35, Kennard Ellis, from his defensive end position. But look at Alexander. He's up just as high as the big tight end Royal, who is 6'5".
Robinson and Reed are split wide to the left. Jarrell Myers in motion for the Tigers. Booty throwing for the end zone. Incomplete. 4th and goal at the 5-yard line for the Tigers.
And a beautiful job on that particular play by Todd Johnson, as Booty wants to go to Jarrell Myers, but watch Todd Johnson hold off this play as you're getting pressure. Booty is forced to throw the ball early as Scott's hitting him just as relief. But watch Todd Johnson back up right there. There's no way to fit the ball into Myers. Excellent play by Todd Johnson of playing the defense and getting in between the ball carrier, the passer and the receiver.
LSU trails by 24 points, and they're going to go for a touchdown on 4th and goal at the Florida 5. Booty. Touchdown to Royal. The tight end just dragging across the middle of the field, wide open.
And this is just a blown assignment as the linebackers are talking pre-snap, and no one takes the tight end, Robert Royal, going over the middle. He is normally the primary receiver down in this area, and when you got confusion, you've got to call timeout. Too big a play to just assume you go get it right, David.
Royal, a guy that they like to go to, as you said, Matt, down around the goal line. He's made some big plays for them. Made some last week against Tennessee in their victory against the Vols. So the Tigers have their first touchdown of the day. Now they go for 2. And Booty's pass is knocked away and incomplete. Hardman tipped it away from Jarrell Myers, and the 2-point conversion is no good. Florida's lead remains 27-9 early in the 4th quarter. Gator fans, get the first look at all your home team highlights on Florida Sports News, weeknights at 10 on Sunshine Network. Join host Barry Milligan and Tom Block. They'll wrap up the day in sports with highlights and scores from across the Sunshine State. More information than your local sports has to deliver. Tune in to Florida Sports News Monday at 10, only on Sunshine Network.
Well, let's go back and see if we can see exactly what happened. If you look at Rob Hartman, he's talking to him right there. Who's going to take the tight end if he comes inside? You know, when you've got confusion of this nature, you've got to call timeout and get it right. The play is too important. As the tight end comes totally free, there's nobody inside to take it.
Onside kick, and the Gators have it. Hoggebrook pounces on the ball at the 43-yard line.
My man. You know, seems like I'm always praising Brian Hoggebrook because he does nothing but continually make plays. And the heads-up thing here. Now, watch him when he makes the play. He catches the football. Now, he doesn't try and do anything special. He catches the football. Now, watch him just get down. So that's intelligence. You have one job. Get control of the football.
You've already got field position just by the nature of the kick. That scoring drive by LSU, 9 plays, 80 yards, over 3.5 minutes. Royal, second touchdown catch of the year. Gillespie to the 44. And a first down for the Gators in LSU territory before Falk made the tackle for the Tigers.
A little misdirection by the Gators as everything goes to the right. And then you got a naked pitch to Gillespie. But look at Kevin Kite, the freshman receiver, blocking out on Hookfin, doing a good job of keeping him out of there, allowing Gillespie to pick up additional yardage.
The Gators mixing the run and the pass today, controlling the clock, leading 27-9 in the fourth quarter. Gillespie off tackle, tripped up as he crossed the 40 to the 39.
And on that particular play, the offensive line blocked for 20 yards, and Gillespie is guilty of finding that tall patch of grass as he's running through there and falls down. But nice job of blocking by that offensive line. Robert Gillespie's got to pick up his feet and go for 20 yards. You got to make this offensive line look good when they're blocking like that.
Stepped on the heel of Kenyatta Walker, who was driving his man toward the center of the field. Gillespie finds a crack up the middle, picks up another Florida first down as the Gators are just grinding it out against the LSU defense in the fourth quarter. Falk made another tackle, but well upfield.
And we've got a couple changes in there in the middle. We got Tommy Hilliard as well as Eric Strange at the right guard position, and that's where Gillespie just tucks in behind them and picks up the first down.
Gillespie again, carrying defenders within to the 26-yard line.
And David, being an old ex-running back, this is a thing of beauty. As you see the offensive line just starting to take control of the line of scrimmage, and the back able to tuck in behind the fullback Rob Frazier, as well as Mike Pearson, Thomas Moody, and pick up positive yardage while taking time off the clock, controlling the football.
Steve Spurrier's Gators sitting on a 27-9 lead with 12:34 remaining. And they keep it on the ground again with Gillespie to the 23. 1 yard short of a first down. And it will bring up third down for the Gators. This LSU defense getting worn down just a bit in the final stages of the game.
There you see the average of the Gators during the season, only 89, and today they're up to 128. So just a tremendous job by the offensive line, getting movement, backs running tough with the football.
And there's some tough running by Ernest Graham. He's only played a couple of downs today at the tailback position, but some fresh legs there by Graham, grinding out another Florida first down.
And you know, the one thing about having good backs like this and having so many of them, you realize that when you get in there, you better get the job done, or you might not get a chance to play for a while. Rand Carthon started the football game. Robert Gillespie came in, played well, and he has taken the brunt of the carries here today, and now Ernest Graham gets his shot at it.
Running out of the I formation with Frazier, the fullback. The toss sweep to Graham. To the 5. Powering his way inside the 5 and out of bounds to the 3-yard line. A first and goal for the Gators.
I tell you, Rod Frazier should get a game ball for the job that he's doing, kicking out on the defender. As that time he was isolated with hook fin and just kicked him out, gave Graham a nice area to run in.
Let's go to the field and Larry. First and goal from the 3. Graham running to the short side of the field, and he is in for the touchdown.
Well, David, they ran the ball to the left side 4 successive times, and that's behind Mike Pearson, Thomas Moody, Tommy Hilliard, and Rod Frazier. Just an excellent job of just pounding the football, wearing down that defense as they took advantage of Jarvis Green, Howard Green, the linebackers Brady James, and Trevor Falk. Beautiful job of pounding the football by this Gator offense.
The kick is good by Chandler. It is 34-9. The Gators had a touchdown drive in the first half that went 99 yards, 5 pass plays. This drive, 8 plays, all of it on the ground. It's 34-9 Florida. Well, let's get another look at the touchdown run by Ernest Graham.
And this is a play that they've ran about 4 times in succession as they continue to pound it to that left side. Just pitch it out to Ernest Graham. Graham tucks in behind Rod Frazier. Nice job by Mike Pearson and Thomas Moody. And there you see the coach says, we know we can run that football, big boys. All we got to do is just keep on pounding it.
Has to be a big confidence builder for the Gators offense. Let's go to the field and Larry.
Well, David, the offensive line has been terrific all day long, but in games like this, when someone's trying to make a run, you want to be able to run out the clock, and the Gators are doing that with the left side of the line. And you talk about some great offensive linemen. The Gators have had a bunch of them, including guys like Romus Brown, Jason Odom, and Jeff Mitchell. But Mike Pearson may be on his way to being as good or better than any of them. Just a third-year sophomore. Tell you one thing, when the Gators need a yard, they go behind number 71, and they darn near get it every time.
Pearson on one side, Kenyatta Walker on the other.
Well, I tell you,
pretty good tackles.
Well, Larry called a couple of real good tackles early on, and Mike Pearson definitely had the potential to fit into that class, but he's still got a little work to do to prove it to us.
Only a sophomore. Gators now with a 25-point lead. 11-17 to play in the fourth quarter. Chandler kicks this one low. It squibs around and is picked up by Davis at the 9. Dominic Davis. Westbrook drags him down at the 34-yard line.
Davis on the return.
And most viewers would be asking the question, David, as well as Chandler has been kicking the football, kicking it deep into the end zone, why would you squib kick, or did he miss it? You know, and this is the Gators knowing that the LSU Tigers have the quick strike with Davis back there returning kickoffs, that they don't want to give him a chance to set up that wall and get off the big return.
Josh Booty led the Tigers to a touchdown drive on their last possession. His first down pass is overthrown, intended for Davis, and Booty was knocked down hard at the end of the play. Takeaways this season. Gators 85 points off of takeaways and 10 points off of 2 takeaways today. To become one of the most opportunistic teams in college football.
And 2 of those takeaways today was by Mike Nattiel. You know, the Gators have been excellent in that category, and had an opportunity even in the Mississippi State game where if they didn't turn the ball over, defense had done some good things, gave them an opportunity where they still had a chance to win that game.
Arpez Roll makes the tackle.
Young man out of Central High School down in South Florida, Miami. Here's another look at it. This is the old counter tray, as the Washington Redskins called it, but Arpez Roll was not fooled, hung in there, fought off the blocker, made the tackle.
Third down from the 35. Bullard attacking, but the pass incomplete. Thad Bullard has been a factor today. Here's a guy that we haven't talked much about. He hasn't made a lot of big plays for the Gators. He didn't make the trip last week to Mississippi, and you know that he was disappointed in that, and boy, has he played well today.
Well, David, when it's your senior year and you're expecting big things, and Thad Bullard came into this season expecting to be a force on this defense, and, you know, when you get the old, well, I don't think you're playing well enough, you're not one of the top defensive ends, you know, that sort of gets your attention, and he's shown it here today as, you know, he's come off the ball, beaten the tackle, and been in the quarterback's face all day.
Johnny Jones lifting it high. Ratliff attracting a crowd of purple and yellow shirts. And the Gators will have the football at the 35-yard line. 10 minutes, 2 seconds remaining. Florida in control. Gator fans, get the first look at all your home team highlights on Florida Sports News, weeknights at 10 on Sunshine Network. Join the hosts, Barry Milligan and Tom Block. They'll wrap up the day in sports with highlights and scores from across the Sunshine State. More information than your local sports has to offer. Tune in to Florida Sports News Monday at 10, only on Sunshine.
Well, there's a good look at Brock Berlin, the freshman from Shreveport Evangelist Christian High School there in Louisiana, and you know he wants to get in there and play. Here's the boys from LSU back home, and you know he knows that everybody back in Louisiana is watching, and you know coming into the ball game last week he got some playing time and he alternated with Rex Grossman. Grossman has played so well that you know he hasn't got an opportunity, but I guarantee you when he get in he'll have some butterflies knowing that this is being shown all over the country, but more important, back in Louisiana, Shreveport.
Berlin, 1999 graduate of Shreveport Evangel Christian. Josh Booty, the quarterback for the LSU Tigers, a 1993 graduate of Shreveport Evangel Christian. So put out a couple of pretty good quarterbacks in that school in Louisiana. Tigers also have 4 or 5 other players on their roster from that same high school. So you can see why they've been 45-0 over the last 3 seasons at Evangel Christian.
Well, normally when a team is 45-0 in high school, you say, who are they playing? But then you also realize that if they can go undefeated for 45 ball games, that they got to be pretty good. I don't care who they're playing.
On an empty field. They got to be doing a lot of things right. Brady James makes the tackle of Ernest Graham. And there is an injured Florida player on the field.
Look like it's the right guard, Eric Strange.
Junior from Orlando out of Boone High School. Backup right guard, plays behind Leon Hires. The Gators don't have a lot of depth, experienced depth on the offensive line. There he is on the left side of your screen, pulling guard.
And there you see that he gets bent back, gets his legs caught up underneath him, and let's just hope it's not a serious knee injury because, you know, big man, a lot of weight there. Eric Strange, 287 pounds, and when you get all that weight bent back over your knee, you know, the knees are not meant to be twisted and turned the way they are in football.
They don't go that direction, do they?
I can tell you by 8 knee operations that it's not a pretty sight.
For all the latest in Gator sports, get in the zone. That's the GatorZone.com, the official website of the Florida Gators. Also, order all of your official licensed Gator merchandise online from the official Gator Sports Shop at GatorZone.com.
David, you know, one of the important factors that has happened here today, not only have the Gators ran the football, but every time LSU has come down and put some points on the board or done anything positive, the offense has responded. You know, that's something that we're so used to seeing out of this Gator offense that, you know, of late it has not been happening. Today, each time that LSU has been able to move the ball down the field, if the defense didn't take it away and they did put points on the board, offensively, you got the points right back. And I think that's a confidence builder for this football team.
And remember, this LSU team defeated Tennessee and Baton Rouge last week in overtime. Big victory for their program. And there's good, looks like pretty good news on Strange. We haven't gotten any report yet, but Strange is able to put some pressure on both legs walking off the field.
But David, talking about that LSU victory over Tennessee, LSU had a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter. and was able to hang in there and still come up with the plays to win the ball game in overtime.
Yeah, it did look like they had totally lost their momentum. You figured Tennessee was going to storm back and pull that game out late, but to the Tigers' credit, they made the plays they had to make and held on for the huge win.
Yeah, and most teams, when they would lose a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter, would hang their head and would not have a chance in overtime. And of course, the Tigers scored on their first play of the overtime.
Wells, the intended receiver, as LSU was in an all-out blitz.
Grossman's pass, Jennifer Wells, incomplete.
And Grossman's pass is incomplete. It'll be 4th down. And here comes the punt team.
Just a lot of pressure as they came with the all-out blitz. You can't pick them all up. And Rex Grossman just tried to get rid of the football, put it out there. Hopefully his tight end could make a spectacular play for him, but just a little too far out in front as he was not able to come down with it.
Ryan punting for the 4th time today. Dominic Davis standing back inside the 20. End over end. Davis watches it hit. And it is down at about the 15-yard line. So it didn't look real pretty, but it was effective by Allen, right?
Very. Inside the 20, and that's all you could ask. You know, you give the Tigers a long field to go, and hopefully the defense will be able to stop them.
Only a few hundred season tickets remain for the upcoming Gator basketball season. For the out-of-town Gator fans, ask about the Coca-Cola Gator six-pack, which features weekend hoops action. For more information, call 1-800-34-GATOR. Gator basketball, it's terror between the rims. I like that. The Gators on top of the LSU Tigers 34-9 with 8:47 remaining. Steve Spurrier's team rolling in the swamp. Hey, Gator fans, check out GatorsVideo.com and order the latest video from the Gators video series. The passion behind Florida football is a 2-hour behind-the-scenes look at the Gators and their fans, a true collector's item. You don't want to miss this special video. Check out GatorsVideo.com or call 1-800-538-2666. The Gator Video Series has all the great action of Florida football. Call 1-800-538-2666. It's a beautiful day in Gainesville, Florida. David Steele, Nat Moore, along with Larry Vitale. And Nat, the Gators couldn't have asked for better weather for one, but also a better performance by both offensive and defensive teams.
Much better performance. The offense has done a better job of controlling the football, allowing the defense a chance to rest, and the defense has responded by, when they're out there, turning it loose, playing with some intensity, playing with some fire, and have done a great job. Now, what the Gators would like to do here is keep everybody close to these receivers, because they've gotten pressure on Booty, but because he's been able to release the ball on rhythm, they haven't gotten a sack.
Catch is made by Reed, and Cromartie bangs him at the 20-yard line. Out of bounds at the 24. Florida's defense playing some of its best football of the season today against a Southeastern Conference opponent. The Tigers, 9 possessions. This football game, they only have a touchdown, a field goal, 5 punts, and have turned the ball over twice. That's pretty good defense right there.
Oh, that's great defense. That's something that we've been missing here for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and should be a confidence booster getting ready to play Auburn next week.
Myers with the ball at the 24-yard line. Let's check in with Larry Vitale for a report on Strange, his injury. Larry?
All right, David, Eric Strange has had his left knee wrapped. He's actually on crutches, working his way through the Florida bench on the way to the locker room. He has suffered a dislocated patella in his left knee. They'll have to evaluate and see long-term what the prognosis is, but the most experienced non-starter on the Florida Gators with a significant injury.
Yeah, that sounds like he's going to be out for a good while, Nat.
And that means that guys like Shannon Shell and Matt Starks really going to have to line up and start playing some football here to sort of help this Gator football team.
Meanwhile, Booty keeping the football.
Booty on the game.
Close to a first down as you look at Strange with the help of crutches headed to the locker room.
You know, one of the problems that the Gators have had this year is that all spring, the offensive linemen were all broken up and beat up and didn't get a chance to practice. If you remember, David, they played 9-on-9 in the orange and blue game simply because all of the offensive linemen were injured. Well, they don't have, as you say, a lot of experienced guys, so you've got freshmen that will have to line up and play probably the rest of the way. True freshmen, that is. So.
First and 10, Josh Booty. Myers with the catch, turns to the outside. Alexander tackled him and then recovered a fumble, but the ball was blown dead at the 35-yard line.
David, I just love this move by the receiver. He catches the ball coming inside, but then he spins right back outside, trying to run away from Benny Alexander, but a nice open field tackle by Benny Alexander on Jarrell Myers.
A yard short of a first down. Clock is ticking inside of 7 minutes to play. 34-9 the score. Florida has led from the outset. Mitchell putting the pressure on. It's up for grabs, and it's caught by the Gators. Intercepted.
It's intercepted by Ronnie Cromartie.
His first action of the year. He's been on a lot of tackles, and now he gets an interception here in the fourth quarter.
Well, this is because of Clint Mitchell coming from his defensive end position as he beats the tackle and just really lays the wood.
Dead ball, personal foul against LSU, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Okay, good pressure by Clint Mitchell as he beats the right tackle, Brad Smalling, and just levels Josh Booty as he's releasing the football. Now watch this hit, and that's why the ball is up in the air, and Robert Cromartie is able to come up with the interception. And then to compound the error, you get a unsportsmanlike penalty on the Tigers.
And that puts the ball at the 34-yard line as Jesse Palmer has checked in to quarterback the Gator offense. He tosses to Graham. Graham loses 3 yards back to the 36, but there is a flag on the play. Going to go against Florida.
Oh, David, they try and go with a quick count. First sound, and half of the Gator players were not ready to go, and because of that, they don't get off on the ball, and Rob Roberts get called for holding as he's not able to make the block on number 56, Jeremy Lawrence. One of the things, whenever you want to go on a quick count, you want everybody to get up, get set, so that when you say hut, you can go with it. There's a good look at the play selection by Steve Spurrier here in the second half as the Gators have decided to run the football, pound the football here in the second half. They've ran it 17 times and only threw it 6.
Palmer will put it in the air. A little swing pass to Graham. He is greeted by James at the 45-yard line, and they have picked up a yard to the 44 or 43. Well, it'll be vital for the Gators next week against Auburn to be able to run the football. Auburn is a team that will control it on the ground if you give them the opportunity. So the Gators will need some sustained drives, mixing the pass with the run. You see the next 5 games. That game time next week, I don't believe that is correct, the 1 o'clock start. It is a 3:30 start.
Yes, sir.
Next Saturday here in the Swamp. Second down, Palmer throwing. He's got Graham out of the backfield. Brady James again there to make the stop at the 36-yard line. Most of the penalty yardage has been recovered. It'll be third down for Florida at the LSU 36. Time running down. The Gators don't want to run the kind of plays that might stop the clock. So even passing the ball, Nat, they're playing very conservative at this point of the game.
Well, this is just dumping it off to Ernest Graham over the middle, hoping that he can break a few tackles and maybe pick up some positive yardage, maybe the first down, but at least picking up some yardage, keeping the clock running, as you see Jesse Palmer running the offense, as Grossman could be through for the day.
This pass over the middle, it is caught by Matt Jackson. And it will be a first down for the Gators at the 23-yard line.
Well, David, when you think about this Gator passing attack, all of these young receivers, these freshman receivers, here is Matt Jackson. This guy finds it difficult to get off the bench. And here he comes in and he makes a play. Look at this. Jabbar Gaffney, Brian Hugglebrook, Alex Willis, who's the senior, has not played but one down today. Rashay Caldwell, Taylor Jacobs, Kevin Kite, and you still have Carlos Perez sitting on the bench. So the Gators passing game will be in tremendous shape as we see good blocking and my man Ernest Graham just dragging people for additional yardage.
And speaking of dragging, that's what LSU's defense is doing at this point in the fourth quarter. They are a beaten down team, and Graham, still strong-legged here in the fourth period, is taking advantage of it.
And that's what happens when you pound the football. That's why Auburn has been so successful this year. They have just ran the football as Graham goes in untouched for his second touchdown of the day.
And that was almost too easy for Ernest Graham as he waltzed into the end zone to give the Gators 40 points for the afternoon. They averaged 43.2 per game, which they're almost there right now. And Steve Spurrier has to be very pleased with the way his team has played.
Look at big number 75, Shannon Shell. We talked about some of these young guys, the freshmen, true freshmen, offensive linemen having to play, and Shannon Shell just went out and destroyed Trevor Falk as Graham went in for the easy touchdown.
Florida Gators now 41-9 as the LSU Tigers have returned to earth. The Gators soccer team returns to persevere in its final homestand. Florida will battle Alabama on the 20th of October at 8 p.m. Admission is free as Dominic Davis returns the kick out to the 21-yard line for the LSU Tigers. Take an opportunity now to view the Florida schedule for the remainder of the season. Going to be 5-1 after today, 5 games remaining, and there they are at home in the Swamp against Auburn. That is a 3:30 start on October the 14th. The following week, starting time undetermined because of television, could very well be 3:30 as well against Georgia and Jacksonville. Then on the road to Vanderbilt on November the 4th, South Carolina at home in the Swamp on the 11th, and then 8 p.m. against FSU on November the 18th. Note the open date between Auburn and Georgia on October the 21st. That Georgia game looming as a huge one as well, Matt.
Well, the Georgia game is huge, but the next 4 ball games is extremely huge because the Gators control their own destiny. They're still in position to win the Eastern Division and a chance to win the SEC championship and maybe even get another shot at Mississippi State, because if Mississippi State can beat Auburn today, they draw even where there won't be one undefeated team in the entire SEC. So the Gators control their own destiny. The next 4 weeks or the next 4 games are extremely important that the Gators play well.
The SEC, tremendous balance this year as Booty tosses the ball to Henderson, the third-string tailback with the football, and he is bounced out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Todd Johnson made the play. Well, Johnson hasn't been called upon to make so many tackles today, which doesn't look good for his statistics, but I bet he likes it this way a whole lot better.
He says, thank you, thank you, thank you, because when you have to stick your nose in there 19 times, that means that you're getting a lot more action than you really want to see.
That was Johnson last week in Mississippi, but the people up in front of him have played much better today. The front 4, the linebackers. LSU picking up about 8 yards to the 43-yard line. Reed with the catch. But the clock continuing to tick at 2 minutes, 40 seconds to play in the ball game. And Florida just that close to picking up its 5th win of the season.
But today, David, what I'm seeing in this defense is not as much arm tackling and throwing yourselves at their feet. I mean, they are just throwing their bodies around, and they're actually running through ball carriers and receivers, and they're making crushing blows. They're hitting harder versus looking like they're trying to avoid the contact.
Tackle made by Chris Reynolds on Henderson. Today's play of the game brought to you by SunTrust Bank, and here it is late in the second quarter. Big play for the Gator offense after what looked like it was going to be a disaster.
Just Rex Grossman really being cool, calm, and collected, and then finding Jabbar Gaffney in the end zone for the touchdown to in the half, and that is the SunTrust play of the game.
One of 3 touchdown catches today for Jabbar Gaffney. Grossman threw 3 touchdown passes, all of them to number 10. Passes caught. Darrell Lee almost took the head off of Josh Booty. And there's a flag drop back in that area as Lee blindsided the LSU quarterback, and it's going to be a holding call against LSU.
Well, this is what I mean. If you can force Josh Booty to have to hold on to the football just a tad longer, and that time the Gators were in a zone defense, if Josh Booty has to hold his ball a split second longer, Darrell Lee has a sack. You know, they've hit him quite a bit,
on the offense,
but they haven't come up with many sacks today.
From the previous spot, repeat first down.
LSU is willing to let the clock continue to tick away. It stopped at the moment at 1:42. The ball spotted at the 35-yard line.
You know, and unlike the Kentucky ball game where the game's out of reach and Kentucky continued to throw the football and build up stats, today you see LSU, they'll throw it, they'll run it, but basically, you know, they're just sticking with trying to get out of the ball game without getting anybody else injured, seemed like.
Myers had the reception, and Cromartie made a good solid tackle on him. I think Robert Cromartie has played well today also for the Gators, making his first appearance on the field this year. He started injured and finally gets an opportunity to play this season. He's a junior and showing his experience today and his tackling ability. He also has an interception.
That's the most important thing, is that he showed you his ability to tackle, and that he's not afraid to put his head in there. You know, a couple times they actually lined him up, and he was in a position of a linebacker, and as the back started to break the line of scrimmage, he was stepping up in there and making the hit in the hole so that the back didn't have a two-way go. So Robert Cromartie has come up exceptionally big today, and I know the Gators are very happy that he's back.
Moody's pass is caught by the tight end Royal. Royal gets out of bounds and stops the clock with 37 seconds remaining. Royal at the 41-yard line. It'll be first down for the LSU Tigers. They are going to have an interesting one as well. The LSU ball club will be at home next week against Kentucky. They've got Kentucky and Mississippi State back-to-back, then an open date, and then the Alabama Crimson Tide at home. That's what's coming up for the Tigers. They will suffer their second SEC loss today. Steve Spurrier's team very much still in the thick of things in the East Division. Everybody in the East has at least one conference defeat. Pass incomplete.
Booty pass incomplete.
David, what we're seeing here with this new defensive line, they've got a bunch of the second team guys and the freshman guys in there, and they look like helter-skelter as they try and run the in-tackle games, and everybody's getting pushed out of their lane. You've got number 96 Pittman in there. You've got Parker as well as Lee, and they are all running in each other as they try and rush the quarterback, and no one is staying in their lane and keeping control.
Josh Reed gets the catch. He's had 2 or 3 catches here late in the ball game, but certainly has not been a factor for the Tigers in this one. And Booty downs the football with 18 seconds to play. That stops the clock. Gators getting a lot of players on the field now as Tron Lefevre runs on, and Kenny Parker comes off, number 95.
Got Chris Reynolds is out in the ball game. It's good to see him back and healthy. So you got a lot of young guys out there getting some playing time, and John Holker's leaving them in there, not worrying about whether the Tigers put another score on the board or not. Just trying to get them some reps, trying to get them some experience.
Tigers looking to take a shot down the field. The pass thrown behind Jarrell Myers and incomplete. Clock stopped with 14 seconds to play. And the LSU Tigers trailing 41-9.
Now this time the Gators just come with a straight pass rush, and there you see the meeting of the defense as Tron Lefevre takes Booty to the ground. But that time they didn't run any games. They just came off the ball, got good penetration, and got to the quarterback as he was releasing the football.
Booty steps up in the pocket. Another interception. This one, Benny Alexander picks it off. Alexander's got a chance to make a big play here. Still on his feet at the 50. And he will run out of bounds at the 38-yard line. And there might be a penalty flag there.
Well, there's no penalty.
That's the end of the game.
But wisely, Benny Alexander, after the catch, he saw that he was not going to be able to go all the way, ran out of bounds,
and ran the clock out, more importantly. So this game is over. The Gators win it by the score of 41-9. A solid victory for the Gators. Let's go to Larry Vittel.
All right, thanks a lot, David. Steve, you said you wanted to see a complete effort out of your team. Did you get that?
Oh, by far best game we've played all year. We ran the ball through it, and our defense played super. So hopefully we can build on this.
Talk about the player, Rex Grossman. Gets his first start through a lot of touchdown passes.
Rex is a beautiful passer. Once he learned where everybody's going and so forth, he's very good. So, you know, hopefully he can build on this.
You got the defense flying around the ball. How important was that?
Yeah, we've played 2 good defensive games this year. If we play well every week, we'll have a chance.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Coach Steve Spurrier, the coach of the Florida Gators, who pick up a big win, bouncing back from the loss to Mississippi State. Back upstairs to David Steele and Matt Moore.
All right, thank you, Larry. The other game Steve Spurrier refers to, the shutout over Middle Tennessee State. Today, the Gators surrender only 9 points to the SEC rival LSU Tigers. We'll be right back. Offensive and defensive players of the game brought to you by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. On the offensive side of the ball, Rex Grossman, a freshman quarterback from Bloomington, Indiana. What a game he played today, Nat.
Tremendous game, 18 for 28, but even more so, put the ball in the end zone as he continually got the ball to Jabbar Gaffney for touchdowns. Just a beautiful job of running this offense. And defensive player of the game by Steak and Shake, Mr. Mike Natile, linebacker, stepping up, coming up with 2 interceptions to get the Gators on the scoreboard, giving them good field position where the Gators were able to take these 2 turnovers and turn them into 10 points offensively. So a beautiful job by Mike Natile at the weak linebacker position.
And Rex Grossman, the quarterback, who was sort of overlooked when the season began. Grossman overlooked because of Palmer being a senior and Brock Berlin, the highly acclaimed freshman. But Grossman gets his first start today and leads the Gators to a 41-9 win over the LSU Tigers. We'll be back to wrap it up in just a moment. There's the final score as East meets West in the Southeastern Conference today in the Swamp. And the Eastern Division Florida Gators come out on top 41-9. The Gators put together, as Steve Spurrier called it, their best overall performance of the football season. Florida now 5-1, while LSU drops to 500 at 3-3. 41-9, the final. Rex Grossman getting his first start for the Florida Gators, throws 3 touchdown passes, all of them to fellow freshman Jabbar Gaffney. Kennard Ellis, an outstanding day on the defensive side of the ball as the entire Gator defense came up big in this one, holding the Tigers of LSU to only 1 touchdown on the afternoon and only 9 points total. So a much maligned Florida defensive football team plays a superior game today in the Swamp against the LSU Tigers. 41-9 is the final score from Gainesville. The Gators now in the Swamp in the Spurrier era are 61-4 and 35-2 against SEC opponents since 1990. What a job by the head ball coach today and his entire staff. Next up for the Gators in the Swamp next weekend against the Auburn Tigers, and you can watch it on Sunshine with Breakfast with the Gators Sunday at 8 o'clock. The Gators 41, the LSU Tigers 9. For Larry Vittel and Matt Moore, I'm David Steele for our entire Sunshine Network crew. So long, everybody.
Florida Sports Profiles presents Chris Evert. She was America's tennis sweetheart for 17 years. Join Sunshine for a look at the life and career of this tennis legend. Sunday at 1:30 on Sunshine.
Florida teams, Florida fans, Florida sports news. Barry Milligan and Tom Block bring you all the scores, highlights, and more. Tomorrow night at 10, Florida Sports News.
The
color, the spirit, the pomp and pageantry of college football. Steve Spurrier cherishes coaching in this environment. Yet every time a National Football League job opens, it seems, Steve Spurrier's name is at the top of everyone's list. What would it take to make him leave Gainesville, Florida? An environment he craves, a lifestyle he loves. What does the future hold for Florida's Stephen Orr Spurrier?
I generally look 4 to 5 years down the road. If I can keep my job 4 to 5 years down the road and have an option of continuing or not, that's what we all hope to do. So I look 5 years down the road every year. Next year I'll probably look 5 years. Next year 5. I feel like I'm a young 55. I feel like I am. Hope I am. I know I can do about everything physically that I did at 35. So hopefully I can go at least 4 or 5 more years.
You look at Joe Paterno up there at Penn State, Bobby Bowden at Florida State, and Steve is certainly as good or better than those guys. And I don't know where the Gators could find a better coach, so he might as well stay here until he's about 75.
You just ask anybody, I mean, whether you like him or, you know, don't like him, for his off-the-field personality, he's the greatest college coach out there, without a doubt.
Coach Spurrier being here has built it up even more, and I think the Florida people would love to see him until he retires, you know, go well up into the 70s or whatever. They'd like to have him around a long time, and you know, I'm not unlike any other Florida fan.
Well, the only reason I'd want to see him leave the Florida Gators is if he went to an NFL team, and I'd love to be on his team there because the stuff we did at Florida is so much different than what everybody does in the NFL, and I think it could be really successful. I'd love to have a chance to play for him again.
I don't see him ever leaving here. I mean, he's got the best job in the country. You know, he works extremely hard during the football season, and he goes and plays golf the rest. And you know, that's wonderful. The NFL is such a year-round job, and there's not a lot of loyalty there. And you know, he's a Gator inside and out. And you know, I think it's fun for him coaching for his alma mater.
Steve's a diehard Gator. He wanted the pros to ask him, like Paterno did. As long as they asked and I could say no, because everybody's always saying, well, do you think Steve's going to go pro? Well, no, because he doesn't want to. He's happy. He's got his family. He's a diehard Gator. He doesn't want to go pro. Pro's not what it used to be. It's not. College is better, much better.
You've had overtures in the past from the NFL. Is that something that's over for good with you? Any talks with the NFL teams calling you? And
no, I don't think you ever say you're never going to do anything much, but at this time I really just love living in Florida, coaching at the University of Florida. I really love the players we have here. You know, sometimes when you recruit guys, you get to know them, you work with them. It's tough to just take off for a lot of people. Some guys can just take off where the best job opportunity, the most money is, but obviously I make plenty of dough. I got a wonderful situation, and I hope to be here, you know, at least 5 more years, and I try to say that every year.
Well, it was taking a little sad something out of me to come look in the stands and not see number 11 or whatever he is down there coaching on the sidelines. It would be a little tearful for me, but the Gators will go on.